everybody. So it's a little bit different than it's been. Welcome to the AintThisTheFun podcast.
This is episode 6.
This is episode 6.
Finally got to number 6.
Can't believe it.
This is gonna be a little bit different. Obviously, you can see.
Someone is actually here with me in person.
We don't really have people over.
We don't really have people over at the
especially like
house.
The reason this whole podcast started is because Nightmare. Now 23 months.
Nightmare. Now 23 months.
A week away, right? 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's only a week away, right? 2 weeks.
Close to 24 months.
It'll be close to 24 months. 2 years.
We had a couple guests in the house, but
we've only had a couple guests in the house. But
we mask every time we're outside of the house.
We mask every time we're outside of the house. I fully trust her.
And so
getting some feedback here. We might be getting some feedback here.
A lot of it?
A lot of it?
Okay. We'll shut one off.
Okay. We'll shut one off then.
Okay, we'll do this. We'll just improvise as best we can. Go ahead and say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
I'll just hold this down. Can you hear?
Let me go upstairs.
Let me reach for this.
Got it.
Yeah. I just need to do this. You can definitely hear me because I'm bumping into this thing. Can you change that? Unfortunately, it's not like that. I would need a screwdriver. I don't have one accessible to me right now. Can't hurt. I'll just hold it. It's not the end of the world. We have an audio expert coming to save us.
Okay.
Yeah? Sweet. I'll just do this. You know what? We'll put something heavy on it. We'll see if that changes it.
I can sit on it.
I
I don't know if that's gonna work.
You
Give me my stapler.
You took my stapler?
Give me my stapler.
Here, let's see if I can just get this to sit.
Is it?
It doesn't like the cord. We'll figure this out. We're doing it live, like I always say.
Yeah, right.
Hey, it's not pretty, but it works.
That's what she said.
Whoa! Did it work? There we go.
Oh,
And I'll even do
that.
this. Watch this. Oh.
Oh.
There we go.
Who would have thought a stapler?
So we're going to be a
would
little
save
bit
the
close
day.
to each other. But yeah, we're
Okay.
triple vax. Wear a mask. We trust each other. And
Yep.
I think you're only the second person other than my parents we've invited kind of to hang out inside the house. Don't you feel special?
I do.
So yeah, to start it off, this is a podcast about things that make us happy, things that are interesting to us, things that have kept us sane over the past 24 months.
Yeah.
Because it's been not so fun out there. So we're going to try to do our best. We each have 3 subjects we're going to talk about, and then
Yep.
something maybe we're looking forward to.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Great. I've been starting some stuff out lately, and I think there was a quote from Sigmund Freud who said, "Avengers assemble." So we're assembling today.
Yeah.
So as I always say, who wants to go first? Would you like to talk about something
No,
first?
go ahead.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. So I haven't watched it recently, but I did watch it. Well, I shouldn't say recently. It was a couple months ago. I watched it again, but at least a couple times a year, I have to watch a particular movie. I don't know if you've ever seen it, so this will be interesting
Okay.
to see if you've seen it or not.
Okay.
It's called Seems Like Old Times.
No,
No?
I have not.
So it's an old movie. I think it was late 70s, might be early 80s. It's with Chevy Chase,
Okay.
and it's with Goldie Hawn. And for the life of me, it's popped out of my head.
Hint.
He just died. I can't think of his name. I'll have to look it up. But anyway, the gist of it is Chevy Chase starts out the movie where he gets abducted from his house by what appear to be, I don't know, guys with guns. And they set him up in a bank robbery. They make him basically do their bank robbery for him. He's out in a cabin somewhere. And you don't know why, but that's the initial setup. But you quickly learn that he is the ex-husband of Goldie Hawn, and she is now with a new husband in a very nice house in a very nice neighborhood, and he happens to be the lead district attorney of Los Angeles.
Okay.
And what happens is his his photo from the bank robbery pops up on their desk, and he sees it and he goes, "This is my wife's ex-husband," and brings it home, and then hilarity ensues. And the gist of it is he has nowhere to go. He escapes from these guys, And the only thing he can think of, the only person in the world where he could go that might have some compassion for him is his ex-wife.
That's typically who you think's going to be your safe space.
Yeah, true. But again, Chevy Chase, back in the day, thinks he's super charming. And he's going to win her over, and she's going to figure it out or something. And he shows up at their house. The problem is, of course, her husband's the lead district attorney. There's been a bank robbery. She's living a good life. He was out in some cabin somewhere. They had been divorced.
So is he like being sought after by law enforcement?
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
okay.
Everyone's looking for him. And of course he shows up in her kitchen. And she has to deal with the fact that now he's in the house. So it's kind of like, it's not quite Three's Company-ish, like, misunderstanding leads to, but it's really just her avoiding telling her new husband that her ex-husband is on the run. B, he's in their house somewhere. C, that she's hiding him out. She's helping him basically do this and try to figure it out because the idea is that she's so kind-hearted. Okay. She's also an attorney, but she's a defense attorney. He's a DA. And so she's always looking on the bright side, trying to help people who need help. And just so happens her husband, this smarmy idiot Chevy Chase character, is the guy, not only is the ex-husband, who she may or may not have a little bit of something for still, like she'll always love him. Kind of thing. Yeah. But she wants to help him just because she would help anybody who needs help. And this guy's literally coming to her begging. And one of the best parts is he's like, I need your help. You got to figure out something. He's like eating everything in the house because he hasn't eaten in so long. You know, it's been a couple days and he's eating everything in her kitchen. He's like, I really need your help. She's like, I can't do anything for you. He goes, all right, you've appeared to have done everything you possibly could. Thanks. And he turns around and goes to walk out of the kitchen. It's like that quick is the first time they see each other after whatever it was. I want to say it's like 5 to 10 years.
Sure.
And obviously, craziness ensues. He's caught riding in the car. They get pulled over while she's going to court. One of the guys she's been defending, she's now hired to be her driver just because he needs a job. So, like, he's driving the car. He's cracking jokes. Chevy Chase is in the back seat with a blanket over him, and the cops, like, got him pulled over.
Oh, jeez.
He's in the house. They end up having to serve dinner to dignitaries in L.A. while this nightmare's going on. Like, they all know the ex-husband's out on the run. And he shows up in the kitchen to be like, I just need some food or some money. And the butler's the guy who she's been helping, like, as a driver. He's drunk. So Chevy Chase puts on his jacket and starts serving dinner to everybody. And they're like,
you look familiar.
Yeah, and they're like, nope. And of course, Goldie Hawn being Goldie Hawn, she's making noises and being all silly. And the DA, for the life of me, I'll look it up here, but he's on the other side of the table, like fuming, and then he's looking at the other guy who might know because they both saw the picture, but the other people don't know what's going on, and and then he goes in the kitchen. They proceed to have a fight. It's ridiculous. It's 70s slapsticky, goofy, Three's Company
Chevy
type
Chase
comedy.
kind of, yeah.
Let's look it up real quick. If Childress was on, he'd be able to tell me. But it's
Childress.
Yeah. I should have written this down.
Great movie.
Yeah, she watched it. Oh my god, I'll have to.
What platform can you watch it on? Or do you have the
I have the DVD, but
okay.
This is one of these movies, especially a lot of 70s and 80s movies that are a little lesser known. You're lucky if you can find them on streaming services, unfortunately. So you gotta.
What's the name of it?
Seems Like Old Times.
1980.
Yeah, see, I knew it was right on the cusp of the change. It was either late 70s or early 80s.
I can rent it on Prime.
There you go. Watch now on Vudu, that's $3. Prime, you said you can rent it on
$3.
Yeah, see, so yeah, I don't think they've ever released it in 4K.
Charles Grodin.
There you go, Charles Grodin. Yeah, he just
Beethoven.
recently passed away. And you know Charles Grodin. Obviously you know him, Beethoven.
Yeah.
He was in the Bounty Hunter movie with De Niro, and so he's great in that, being a smart ass. And now in this case, he's the DA, so he's trying to play a straight man. But every time he's presented with the ex-husband, he gets all angry. She hides Chevy Chase out at the. They have a 2-story like garage in the back that's disconnected, and Chevy Chase will be like under the bed, but they're sitting. Her and Charles Grodin are like sitting on the bed, and of course she's being all slapsticky, like, don't look under the bed. Oh, she has like the vapors to keep him from like checking under the
totally
bed.
Goldie Hawn move.
Yeah. And so she's super cute as normal, and she's super funny. Grodin plays a great, like, smart-ass, angry husband. Chevy Chase is being, when he was great, prime goofball Chevy Chase.
Yep.
And so it's an old movie, and if I say it to people like you and others, I'll be like, "Oh, have you ever seen Seems Like Old Times?" It's literally one of my top 5 favorite movies. I love it. And people go, "Huh?" I'll be like, "Yeah," because he was in a movie with her called Foul Play, which was like 78, I think. If Sergio's on, Sergio recently they just released that in 4K, like on a Blu-ray. It was Foul Play, which is also a good movie, not in my top 5 or 10, but you can see their chemistry there, and so they, wanted to put him in another movie. I don't know if it's the same company that did, but if it's on, I'll watch it. If I find it or I'm bored and I don't know what to watch, I'll throw it on.
When is it on? I've never even.
When I had cable, I've since cut.
It's been on cable.
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh, I've never.
The reason I even saw it, because I didn't see it in the theater. I mean, I would have been 7 when it came out, and that's not a movie. And now that's Empire Strikes Back year is 80, so I probably didn't even know this existed. This is purely a cable movie for me. Like, this is a movie I saw on cable, and I would have, because I'm weird, I would have probably been like 14, 15, and it probably played all summer. And for whatever reason, I'm interested in, at the time, Chevy Chase, Goldie Hawn, being goofy. It's an adult comedy. It's not really kind of a kid, but I'm a huge Chevy Chase fan when he's on. Now he's got his problems.
Not being difficult.
Well, he may have been difficult then too, but for some reason, him and Goldie Hawn always worked, and Beverly D'Angelo, obviously, in The Vacationers, they always were super friendly, and they always wanted to work together. But I'm sure Childress has stories.
Strong women can probably take him,
And and they could also hold their own. Other people, he is, whether again, I don't know him personally. I don't have to work with the guy, but he seems like he is like high level educated. And he seems obviously very smart. He's incredibly witty. He revolutionized SNL in that first year, so much so that they literally, like, he's like, "I'm done. They already want me in movies and stuff." He was only there 1 year and he left. He made SNL, the news section, prime in 75. And so I even remember watching it even at 4 and 5 years old. And then the best ofs 4 years later. Chevy Chase is iconic, and this is one of, if you've never seen it, which obviously you haven't,
I have not.
You got to do yourself a favor. It's a great couples movie because it's the ex-wife and the husband, and they're being idiots, but there is like a weird, she no longer loves him like that.
Right.
But there's always going to be that thing.
Oh, sure.
And so even when he comes into her life, she's irritated, but there's that little, just enough spark where she wants to help him, and she kind of loves him and doesn't want him in trouble. And so he plays off that, but they're not going to be together in the end.
Right.
But every time they talk, she has a little glint in her eyes, or he'll say something stupid, and she'll laugh. He tries to kiss her, and she kind of lets him, but then, "No, I can't," and she does her thing.
Yep. On thing,
It's great, and to this day, I want to say it was about 6-8 months ago, the thing Childress and I always talk about is, for a large portion of it, Grodin wants a promotion, I think is the idea, if I remember correctly, and he's going to have this dinner that sort of the movie culminates in. The big deal is their housekeeper happens to be Hispanic, and she has a very stereotypical kind of accent, but she's explaining to them, she takes none of their crap, Grodin and Goldie Hawn. She's like, "I'll do whatever I want," and she needs to get her feet scraped. I'm assuming it's like a pedicure she's talking about, or like maybe her bones, like a bone spur. But she doesn't say it like that. She's like, "I gotta go get my feet scraped," and so she's gonna be gone during the dinner. So have the butler do it, or whatever kind of thing. "I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna be here. I got things to do," So she's very tough.
Like Rosario from Will and Grace.
Reference I don't get. I know. It's one of the things I didn't watch. One of the sitcoms. But yeah, if it's similar, she took no guff.
Sounds like it. Yep.
But the thing is everybody in the DA's office, and obviously them, anybody who's ever been at one of their parties, the housekeeper made her famous chicken pepperoni, she called it. And so it was her recipe, chicken pepperoni. And when she can't be there, Goldie Hawn's like, I'll figure it out. He's like, is it going to be chicken pepperoni? The real chicken pepperoni? You know, and so they keep talking about this famous chicken pepperoni that's going to come out. Like, it's the best dish they've ever made. And so Childress or someone else had brought it up, and him and I always joke, like, one of these days, I'm just going to have to make chicken pepperoni because no one makes it. You go to restaurants, they don't make it. You talk about it, no one knows what the hell you're talking about. I've never made it. I've never heard anybody who knew about the recipe.
Do they give you the recipe?
No, like not in the show. You know, it's like at one point she's trying to cook, and you know she's Goldie Hawn and there's sauce flying, and she's I don't know, and she's all excited, but they never show you it. So if you look online, they'll have something called chicken pepperoni, but it doesn't quite look like the dish they're going to serve. But it's funny now. If you look up chicken pepperoni, half the recipes are called. I can't think of the housekeeper's name, but they'll put chicken. What you call it's famous chicken pepperoni. There are people who love the movie as much as I do and wanted chicken pepperoni, so they either figured out based on what it looked like and the
descriptions or something, maybe
a chicken with a tomato-based sauce that's either has pepperoni on it or in the sauce, and so they looked at the movie and they've changed the recipe here and there, and so I picked one out. I picked what I liked about it, and then I made chicken pepperoni for us one night, and we watched Seems Like Old Times, and it actually turned out really good.
Oh,
a little bit of spicy.
Did you share the recipe?
I don't know if I wrote it down. She has a recipe book, so maybe before you go, we'll check to see if we wrote it down.
Okay.
If not, I'll make it again, and if it comes out the right way, I'll give it to you. I might have sent it to Childress. But anyway, a lot of pepperoni in it, obviously. But yeah, it's super fun, and I'm glad you haven't seen it. And that's kind of the purpose of this is you'll laugh.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the exact saying, but, you know, she commented here, great movie. There's a scene where Chevy Chase is coming out, and the housekeeper's leaving the house, and of course he falls down the stairs because he's Chevy Chase. And she's like, hey, you man! I feel like that's because, again, they're playing up the sort of stereotypical, this is the 70s, so, but yeah, she's like, hey, you man, you guy, get out of here, you know, and she cracks the hell up. And so, because it's Chevy Chase falling down the stairs. How do you not laugh at that?
How do you not?
Yeah, so.
No, I definitely, $3, totally.
Yeah.
Rent that, watch it on Prime.
Again, it doesn't look as nice because I don't think they've ever made a 4K print or digital, but you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, we watch TV and worse picture, right? So I think I can handle it.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah. So chicken pepperoni. So I need to watch the movie, and then you need to give me this recipe.
Well, and if you've never seen it, that's what we'll do. Is I'll try to make it. If it came out the way I thought it, if I remember it coming out, I'll give you the recipe. You'll have to make the recipe and then watch it while you're eating chicken pepperoni.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll make it, and we'll do it here.
Sure. Okay.
Childress still hasn't gotten chicken pepperoni, so you might be the now third guest, and he'll be the third guest with you, and I'll make chicken pepperoni, and then we'll all sit and watch Seems Like Old Times.
All right. And it'll seem like old times.
That's right.
Watching movies.
Yes.
At your house.
Yeah,
We
again.
used to do that. Yeah. See? It's like a play on play there.
Keeps coming back.
Seems like old times.
So what's your first one?
So my first one is, things that I enjoy. It's kind of cliche, but it's my kids. But what I'm really liking about the age where my kids are at is being a part of like their childhood, but including them in what was my childhood, And so, like you've known me a long time. I think we're going like 17 years or something like that.
Easily.
So before I even thought kids were in existence in my ability. And I never really had planned, people like, oh, I'm going to have kids, I know what I'm going to do and all this stuff. And I just never really thought of that. So having kids, it's all new experience. I'm learning all these fun things, but I love showing them things from like my childhood. And so, we've watched E.T. and just, they don't get it, how awesome the graphics were then, but it's still like really, the stories are really interesting. We even watched Jaws because it's not scary like it was when I was growing up, and I couldn't even, like, my wife was telling them, like, she couldn't even, what was she saying? I think it was like, even get in the bathtub or something.
She's that scared.
Or no, waterbed. She had a waterbed, and she couldn't. Yeah, she was telling the kids like I was scared to even be in my water because I thought, the Jaws would come out.
Okay.
And I remember being like at the pool, and like the, not where the light was, but maybe in like a vent, And
Like on the side?
Yeah, I'm like, I wouldn't go near those because I didn't wish that the shark could come out, right? But it's not that,
Sure.
the graphics don't scare them as much anymore. But like Ghostbusters, my son is a huge Ghostbusters fan. And so just watching all these old movies, and then what I really liked about Afterlife was incorporating like my childhood and bringing him into that, but then us having this connection to watch this new movie together, and you were there, like just watching his face and watching all this new stuff get introduced, but how they did such a great job of like including a lot of the old stuff and how he caught some of the things that I didn't even catch. And I've seen the movies.
Well, at this point, now
Dozens
probably
of times.
he's probably beat you in how many times you've watched it, right? Because he's a huge mega fan. Your son.
Huge Ghostbusters.
He's probably
fan.
watched it 50 times at this point.
The new one.
Even the old ones.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It's way more than we've
Oh
ever
yeah,
watched.
1 and 2 he's watched tons.
Sure.
And I probably watched a lot when I was younger, and I certainly remember it and loved watching it again. And I watch it if it's on. I'll sit down and watch it.
Course.
It's a great movie. But no, he'll watch it on repeat, And now Afterlife. So I really like enjoy just, Back to the Future is one of my favorites. And so just like showing him all this, and what's really interesting is like, when that came out in '85, the first one, it was talking about 30 years back, 55. So like we're already past the 30 years from when that was out.
2015.
Yeah, right.
Because that was the second one. They jumped 30
right,
ahead.
and then the World Series of the Cubs. But like, trying to explain some of the things, like they have hoverboards, but they don't float, right? So
Sure.
trying to explain, when we were watching the future one of them being on the hoverboards, I was like, well, this was what we intended them to do, right? And we wanted them to float, the shoes that
Yeah.
laced up and all that. But
Although you can buy those shoes.
I
Nike
thought
ended
that
up making a limited amount of those. So collectors still have them,
okay.
but they're way not affordable. They're like $2,000 a piece for a set. But they have them where you hit the button and
I thought it was just a prototype. They actually
ended up
made
making them,
it.
yeah.
Oh my.
I think they made an initial run. They were only a few. They were like 100, and it was for charity. I think the initial
Okay.
output. Again, I'd have to look this up, and I'll find it and put a link in. But then they, because all these sneakerhead guys. Like
Yeah.
I'm a collector, comic books and stuff. These sneakerhead guys are like that. They ended up Nike put out like a more broader release, and I want to say they were slightly better. Like
Okay.
they worked a little better. But yeah, you can buy those.
Man, I wish I had $2,000 because
Yeah.
that would be so cool. Just
Yep.
But yeah, I think that's just one of the things that I'm really enjoying right now is trying to come up with different things that I remember liking when I was a kid. And there's so much that is coming back now from the 80s and 90s. Like that my kids were the Cabbage Patch Dolls are coming back. Like,
Are they really?
Yeah, they've some Cabbage Patch Doll thing.
Wow.
They've like even those what is the name of it? The Yamaguchi, the Tamagotchi.
Yes.
The little things. They've had like keychains of stuff like that, and it's like, what? How is this even, fun? But even like old video games, playing Mario, Super Mario Brothers on.
NES, the original.
No, yeah, but on Switch. You got me.
Yeah.
You let me play on that thing, and so playing that and like some old games is like so cool because it's like, it's one thing to like relive your childhood, to do as you get older, but then to do it with your kids, it's just like a totally different experience. And incorporating them into that, it's just really fun. Because I remember like doing stuff with my parents that they used to do, and dancing to old 50s songs from like my mom, and like now my kids can name Guns N' Roses songs and Cher,
You're
right?
teaching them right.
Aerosmith, and like I mean my
Teaching them right.
yeah, my son will walk in and he's like, hey Alexa, can you play Sweet Child of Mine? I'm like, yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yes, she can. You can play it all day long. So it's just really cool to have that experience, and then as they get older, until they don't want to hang out with their parents anymore, it's just really cool to experience all of that. I'm just loving it.
Have you found? I mean, obviously he gravitated immediately towards Ghostbusters, and
Oh yeah.
clearly rock music. Some of the rock music you listen to, or quote unquote cool music.
Yeah.
But even Cher's super popular. Obviously, that's probably being. I know you, so I know
Oh,
that's
yeah.
being played in your house
My
a lot.
daughter knows if I could turn back time because I'll just jam it. Yeah.
What I hear a lot from, especially, I'm a particularly geeky guy, and what I hear a lot, especially with video game guys, they'll do that where kids nowadays, you put them on like Fortnite, you're
Yeah.
multiplayer. There's 100 people running around, and it's anywhere you go, you can play on your computer, your Switch, your this, your that, your Xbox, and everything is online, and everything looks great, and you're on your HD TV, and some of these guys will be like, yeah, I tried to get my kid to play Mario, or I tried to get the original Metroid, or I tried to get my kid to play like some of the original PlayStation 1 games, and they're just like, Dad, these suck. And you're like, ugh. But you can't.
Right, shut your mouth when you're talking to me like that.
And so they try to not force it on their kids, because you don't want to be like, you gotta like this,
right?
Because then they're immediately not gonna like it.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, now you're forcing me. I hate this even more than I hated it already. Same thing with music taste. Same thing with movies. Like Star Wars is great. Then you put on the original New Hope, Episode 4, and they're like, man, this looks like garbage.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, but just watch it. You'll like it. I'm bored. You can't force it. You are getting no dinner.
Yeah. Until you watch this. Yeah.
But yeah, that's the fine line. But it seems like your kids have jumped right on that.
Yeah,
stuff.
I think because we've picked the good ones.
Well,
you know what I mean. Like we
curate is necessary. Curation is
and we haven't done the Star Wars, the originals, but like my daughter's watched Mandalorian.
Awesome.
And I don't know that she gets a lot of it, but she likes, Baby Yoda. She likes, the different characters and stuff. And they've certainly, obviously, any Marvel movie, we've seen them. They love them. They, we started to do some of the shows, but those were getting a little more, like Loki was a little difficult for them to understand kind of thing. Like, they're like, I don't understand this stuff. They like Wanda, like WandaVision.
That's cool. That's very different. The fact that they picked up on that and kind of enjoyed that.
Yeah.
That's not a normal Marvel thing. You know. Yeah. Talking about, her altering people's minds and the perception of the people around her and all that.
But they did such a good job of like connecting the pieces. So like you watch the first couple episodes and then all of a sudden, by the sixth they're like going back to show like why this was, and they're like, oh, now I get it. And they're old enough now where they're like, I totally understand that, and explain a little bit here and there, but this Friday,
coming,
Friday,
okay,
the 18th, they have a half a day at school, and so I was talking with our neighbor, who has kids that are the same age as my kids. Actually, our girls are best friends, and we were talking about like old movies. She's the same age as me, and 90s, all this stuff. So we are going to have them watch Never-Ending Story. Because we were talking about the movie that like messed us up, and I'm like, that movie messed with me.
You're not the only one. I've heard other kids say that. It didn't mess me up, but you're not the only one.
Yeah, there was like a meme that she sent me about when she goes, "This is when my childhood trauma started," and it was when the horse dies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the tar, like the stuff, right?
The mud quicksand kind of thing, and I was like, yeah. Well, what messed me up about that movie was that wolf, the black wolf that was always in the shadow.
Yes.
And then at the, I don't know, it's towards the end or whatever, when it comes out and it jumps into the screen, and I remember being a kid like, so like anything dark, like door, closet, like that stuff messed me up. So we're like, how can we mess our kids up? We're like, all right, we're gonna watch that movie. So this Friday we're gonna watch that. They're gonna watch it at their house, and we're gonna watch it at ours, because I feel like if we watch them together, the kids will just end up like, we're gonna go play, and it's like, no, so and so is watching this movie. Let's watch this movie so we can like talk about it. But I'm excited to see.
Do yourself a favor.
Okay.
I think there were 2 sequels.
There were.
They're trash.
Yes.
Don't watch them.
Don't.
Yeah, I didn't know if you had or if you
I have
planning
watched.
on it. Do not.
When I was younger, I watched.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're bad news.
Oh yeah. There's some things that just need one.
Yeah.
And there's some like, we'll add to that. But we also tried watching Fraggle Rock.
Awesome.
So they didn't get it. They didn't like it.
At all?
No.
Trash Monster, the whole deal.
They didn't get it. But there's a new one coming out. They have reinvented it.
Okay.
And there's new, it was like the old man in the shop. Now it's a woman. I don't remember. I don't know much of the premise, but it's coming. I think it's going to come out on like HBO or something like that. But
the Sesame Street stuff is licensed to HBO Max, so I'm willing to bet.
Because it's a Jim Henson. It's a...
Right. Well, it's a little bit. The Sesame Street stuff was made by the Jim Henson Company, but it's owned by like national television. It's a learning program, so I think they own that, and they license Sesame Street to HBO Max. I don't know if that just automatically includes all Jim Henson properties.
Okay.
Because the Muppets, if I'm not mistaken, the Muppets are now owned by Disney.
I think you might be correct.
Because that's why I think the Muppet shows and stuff are on
The
Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So Fraggle Rock is made by Jim Henson, but that's technically not Muppets. So I don't know if that's included in that or not. So it might be on Disney Plus, or it might be its own thing.
No, I thought I saw it was coming out. I could be wrong. I thought it was coming out on HBO Max or something like that.
But it's coming out.
A new one.
It's not a continuation. Like
no, it's
just a reinvention.
The intro seemed very similar.
Yeah.
You know, but it was like one of those where I think it started like the trailer. It started the old intro. And then moved into like, hey, we're new, you know, kind of thing. So
maybe
I'm
add new
try
characters
it again.
or something.
Maybe, and maybe just modernize some things that they dealt with, right?
People have cell phones.
Yeah. Yeah.
No more corded phones.
Yeah. But that's cool. So I'm excited to see how they're gonna respond to Neverending Story.
Have you shown her a picture? I don't think they've met the Bubs. Bo.
Oh, is he the dog?
The face. If you just pulled his paws down his body. I did a picture years ago on Facebook. If you just put his paws across his body and make him like a long thing, he looks exactly like the dragon.
That's funny.
He just doesn't have the scales. He has kind of a bit of a scale on his head or something. He doesn't have the scales, but he looks just like him. Now when you go up there to see him, you're going to be like, he's the...
I'm going to ride him home.
That's right.
So, but yeah, no, so just... You know, just really, just enjoying watching kind of the old things and watching them. Yeah, I mean, they're not probably as cool as it was when I was, but I think too they just enjoy watching it too with me because I get really excited when I watch some of my old favorite movies.
Have they gotten to Empire Strikes Back yet?
No.
So for me, as Uncle Eric, I either need to be there for Empire.
Yeah.
Or you got to do me a favor and tape. See, I'm dating myself. Record their reaction to Vader at the end.
Okay.
I am your.
Yeah. You can be there. You can be there.
Someone else we know taped their daughter.
Yeah.
When they hit that age and like, okay, let's watch this, and there's nothing better. There's a whole section. If we go on YouTube. There is an entire section of videos of people showing their kids.
I have, and they like cry, right?
Or they're like, "What?
Yeah.
It's his dad." Yeah, and it's hilarious. Their faces light up. They're like, and then they look at their parents like, "What?" And you're like, "I had to wait 3 years for that, kid. You got to watch New Hope yesterday, and now you got Empire, and then the very sad ending of Empire. You had to wait 3 more years for Jedi. People just put the movie on right after that, or wait, put it on to the next day."
They're all on Disney. All 3 of them are. They're all of them are on Disney. Yeah, they got
every single Star Wars thing. They even put the old Christmas special that George Lucas put away in a vault because it's horrible. They had a Christmas special. I think they were obligated to do one.
Okay.
And so I think it was after the first. Yes, it was the first. It was after the first Star Wars. In between that and Empire, it was the first place they introduced Boba Fett in a cartoon. But it was. Chewie had to go back for the the Wookiee Christmas. It wasn't called. It was called Love Day or Anniversary Day or something. He had to go see his family, and so all the actors, Harrison Ford, Carrie, all of them were on regular broadcast television to do this Christmas special, and it is atrocious. But it's so good to watch because it's horrible. You should make your kids watch that. But they go back to help Chewie say Merry Christmas to his family.
Yeah.
But in the midst of it, out of nowhere, they wanted to introduce Boba Fett, so they made a cartoon of him on the back of a dewback. And it was the first place anybody saw Boba Fett, and they're like, "That guy's the coolest dude ever." And then you wait another year, and then he shows up in Empire.
Okay.
But that's on they because Lucas has no control anymore. They kind of got his blessing and said, "Look, we're just going to put everything up." And so I think it's still up. It might just be up around Christmas, but this Christmas they put it on there so you could watch it finally because people had
talked about
put it on YouTube, had old tapes of it in their house, so it had the scan lines in it. But they cleaned it up and they threw it up on Disney Plus. So much so, they did a Lego Star Wars sequel this last year to the horrible Christmas
one. The Lego ones are awesome. I like when they.
So
do
yeah,
those.
Ray was like traveling through
Yeah.
different time and dimensions and like helping people through the same holiday, whatever it's Life Day or something
Yeah.
it's called.
Well, I know we've talked, and I think I've talked with you, and I might even talked with Chris about this. Is like I don't know, like just because I did not like 1, 2, and 3. So
you mean the prequels?
Right,
Yeah, episode 1.
right?
Yes.
And so I don't like. I would just start at 4 because I feel like that's what I started with. But I think the viewers are like, just give them a shot because it does explain. But
Well, you should start at 4 anyway, because I think the revelation needs to be had at Empire.
Okay.
And so it was so iconic.
they want to go back. They can go back and watch.
Well,
those,
even
but
then,
like,
you maybe
Yeah.
watch them in the order they were released.
Okay.
Yes, they probably obviously get worse. People crap on Jedi all the time because they don't like the Ewoks, but that's
I
because
love that one.
there are people,
Yeah.
48-year-old dudes that can't handle Ewoks, and they got very mad that he put Muppets in his movies. And so even though Yoda was
Essentially,
yeah, Frank Oz did him,
Yeah.
and so but he was cool because he was Yoda, but it's furry bear, so now it's stupid. But yeah, so people had problems with that, even though that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you watch 1, 2, and 3. 1 is a little hard to get through. One is pretty bad going back and looking at it. But you get Darth Maul, and you get the dual-bladed lightsaber. You get the Duel of the Fates song. Eric and I were talking about John Williams' score. There's nothing more iconic than that Duel of the Fates song when he lights the lightsaber up on both sides and the that kicks in. You're like, wow, that's great. That battle's cool. 2 has some good parts in it, but it's also got a little rough. But you get a little Django Fett in there. You get some cool stuff. So again, you kind of watch it for those cool parts. I will defend Revenge of the Sith, which is episode 3.
I never got to that because I could barely stomach 1. and
You're not
two.
you're not the only one.
So I was like,
unfortunately.
I give up.
But it really is a culmination, and they take all the good parts of the drama of it. Yeah, people are going to, she couldn't survive because she was depressed, but the other people can survive. The other, okay, yes, there's some silly stuff in it, but as much as you didn't like the Anakin character leading up to, especially young Anakin, people really didn't like teenage Anakin in 2, but 3, as much as some people say that he like overplayed it and was too dramatic, there's some pretty good. He shows you the anger and why eventually he turns. Now it's a little too quick, and yes, there's some parts, but there's a lot of lore dump in there, and Palpatine talks about why you might want to switch, and you get some Mace Windu action in there. So you got some Samuel Jackson, you got the turn, you got the Vader reveal, which is pretty neat, although they changed it, and Lucas added some stuff that people make fun of, him yelling, which is silly, but you get to see like him become Vader, and there's the last half of the movie is really him and Obi-Wan kind of coming to terms. And Anakin does some really horrible crap at the end of that movie where you go, oh, it's not just him being whiny. Like, he really did turn into the worst Jedi ever. He really did flip to be a Sith.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to tell you. That one's maybe a little hard to watch with kids if they don't get it. But it's not, you don't show you it. But let's just say it involves kids. But ultimately you see the battle. You see the anger. Even, you may not like Ewan McGregor, but him and Obi-Wan in 3... why are you making me do this? And this huge battle on Mustafar, this lava planet, and they're jumping around doing lightsaber stuff. If you can stomach through 1 and 2 to get to 3, I think the last half, it'll really get you. There's some apologists like me. Steven Childress, I think, will defend 3.
Okay.
And then the new 3, that's a whole nother story. We won't even get into that. But there are good parts about that, too. But you got to at least get through 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, that I want to. I think they're old enough. They're be 8, so I think they're old enough now where I think they get some of the things in it. Even if what they don't get, they're easier to explain.
Well, it'll also help too because Obi-Wan starts next month on Disney Plus. So again, you don't know why he's on Tatooine. You have to watch 3 to get why all that is happening. Why he's kind of hiding out away from Luke on the same planet. That's what this new TV show is going to expand on that, the 10 years where Luke was nearby, but he didn't talk to Luke. But if they can handle Mandalorian,
Well, they handled all the Avengers. I mean, they were
Yeah.
they were sad and during Endgame, like they
Yeah.
Iron Man, like who didn't
Yeah.
cry?
Shy of the hand getting chopped off, there's really not a whole lot of violence, and it's all
Right.
fun, like
Right.
lightsabers and Jedi stuff. And all of it. All
Yeah.
spaceships.
I'm gonna get. I think they're old enough. But it's one of those things where it's like, I just had to kind of wait to the, because I think there's a lot of mental game in Star Wars. You have to kind of understand some of the things. So.
Yeah, especially if you go back,
Right.
they'll get to see Boba, won't know why Boba's Boba. Then if you show them 1, 2, 3,
It'll make.
then they'll be like, why is that guy colored different? But then something happens to him, and then you see little Boba, and then okay, and now you can watch Mandalorian,
Yeah.
and now the Book of Boba Fett, be like, oh, that's that dude. Now
Yeah.
he's old, but he was that guy. Why does he look like the clone troopers? Now they'll know, and
Yeah.
it'll be. It's the fun part about, like you said, like getting to watch them
Mm-hmm.
realize stuff.
Yep.
Have they watched Book of Boba Fett?
No.
See, that's something you should watch. Mandalorian's a whole new thing, so that's kind of cool. They'll it doesn't have to connect, although
Right.
Luke popping up.
I never watched it. My daughter watched it. I haven't watched it.
You never
I
watched
haven't
it?
watched it. No.
Spoiler.
Oh.
Well, then all I can say is, now that I've ruined it for you, I'll just say you won't know when, but out of all those episodes, Luke shows up, and you're like, what? And he pops up. I'm sorry I ruined it for you.
No, I think
It's a
I've
real
seen.
bummer.
I think I've. There's.
It's probably been ruined
Yeah.
for you, but it's awesome.
Cool.
It's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's cool that you get to sit and watch their face, like, what?
Yeah.
And that's that dude, and that now makes sense with
Yeah.
that thing. And I don't have to wait 3 years.
No, I know. That's what was great about the Marvel. Like during, we talk about the 2 years of, not doing much.
Yeah.
We started it at the beginning and we watched all of them.
I remember you asked me, like, what order should I watch?
Well,
them
now
on?
they have them on. They either have them on release order or they have them on the chronological
Yeah.
order. So we started back. There were a couple like they didn't really like Doctor Strange. It was because that was too much of thought process. But
Sure.
going through, they really like obviously Iron Man and Thor and I was asking about like how can we watch the old Hulk movies because my son really likes the Hulk. But you can't really watch those and.
You can, but they're not on Disney.
Well, but they're not. You have to, rent them or buy them.
Oh, you have to.
You have to
that's
rent. I think on
possible.
Amazon you have to rent, but it's not $3.
No.
It's higher than that. But no, so it was cool to watch all the way through, and then we watched the Avengers and just watch them like, oh, there's this and that, and then Black Panther, and just really just cool to watch. Because I'd already seen all of them except for the last, I think Endgame I watched with them. Such a good one.
That's not on my. I haven't talked about that yet, but I waited 10 years for that moment. I knew it was coming 10 years.
Well, yeah, because
Right, I knew that was coming, and I could watch it happen. And when Ultron happened, and they do the test, like, it's gonna happen. When is it gonna happen? And I had to wait another 5 years, 4 years for it to, maybe 5. I knew it would have happened eventually, and if they didn't give it to me, I would have been angry. But man, they gave it to me in spades. I'll end up talking about it at some point. And I'm sure 8 million people have talked about it on YouTube, but. It's one of my favorite all-time things ever.
Yeah.
Ever. In any movie I've ever seen ever.
Yeah.
I tweeted out, again, I'll talk about it. I tweeted out my watch. If you're sitting still but your heart rate goes up, it'll kind of warn you. Maybe I just have high blood pressure. But, it'll say
no, I never experienced that.
you've been, we can tell you're not moving, but your heart rate has gone above 110, I think.
Okay.
It'll say, whatever. We got out of the movie, and I knew my heart was pumping before it even happened because I could sense it, and then it happened, and it was like, wow. We got out of the movie, and I looked at my watch, and it still had shown that it had activated, like warned me.
Okay.
And it wasn't 110, it was like 130.
Oh, jeez.
It had said, we see that you are not moving, but your heart rate has gone over 130. And I posted it on Facebook, and I said, I can't tell it because I get to go with Childress weeks ahead of time.
Yeah,
I can't say a thing. But I just said, I was just in a movie, and this happened. And I told Childress, I showed it to him, and he's like, oh my God. I said, I almost had a heart attack. That's how jacked I was when that happened. So eventually I'll talk about it.
That's also how old you are.
I also have high blood pressure. So that's not good. But
Yeah.
awesome. Good.
Yeah. So that's mine. Just watching the old stuff with the kids.
There's still all kinds of stuff.
Oh, there's so much now.
Transformers and I don't know if you were Gem and the Holograms person or
No.
Thundercats. I talked about He-Man either last episode or before it. He-Man's huge again, and they have all the new stuff. She-Ra on Prime.
Yep.
All kinds of fun cartoons.
Yeah. We've done the Harry Potter, but that's not as old, but yeah.
Before them.
Definitely.
How weird is that?
Very weird. Very weird.
You go back now and you're like, oh my god, that's older than you guys.
Yeah. Well, they do. They assess things by like what year did this come out? And I was like, what we were born when? I was like, yeah. Oh, okay. So we weren't around then? I'm like, no. Nothing good has really happened since we've been.
It's in 4:3 aspect ratio. It was way before you were born.
All the good things happened before you were born. Let's be real.
20 years from now, there'll be kids showing them Fortnite. They'll be like, this is the coolest game I ever played. The kids will be like, this is dumb. Ugh. I want to go into VR again.
Well, it's like Roblox. Like, I can't understand. I don't understand all that stuff. That's not video game.
Interactive Legos. That's all it is. Think about it that way and you'll get it. Interactive multiplayer Legos.
No thanks.
Role-playing. Interactive role-playing Legos online.
No thanks.
Well, there's also scary people online, so.
Yeah, no, they don't get to do that part.
So you were talking about Fraggle Rock. Mm-hmm. It just so happens, a lot of these times unintentionally, people will say something and it'll kind of lead in a weird way, segue. I think it was just this week or the week ago, Foo Fighters released a cover of the Fraggle Rock song. Like, because he's awesome and he just plays around and does silly things. They did Fraggle Rock, but Foo Fighters Fraggle Rock. I'll post a link in here.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Oh, I'm totally going to watch
it. And,
is it a video or a song?
Video.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't think it's, like, released live. It was, like, fun. It was just silly.
Watch it.
Yeah, you can watch it.
Okay.
And, I'm a huge Foo Fighters fan in general.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Dave Grohl fan. I liked him when he was a drummer in Nirvana. And then when he went solo, he didn't know. There may have not been any hope that he had survived. I've heard him on Stern multiple times, say like, I was, after Nirvana, because of Kurt,
right,
like dissipated, there was no band. He was living on the floor of his buddy's house. Nirvana, like three or four multi-million selling albums, one of the most popular bands ever at that point. Mm-hmm. And as soon as Kurt died, he had they didn't know what to do, and he literally just packed his stuff and was sleeping in like the back of his buddy's house on the floor. And then one day he just woke up and got his 4-track machine and just started making some demos and called some people up. Was like, yeah, I gotta do something. Yeah. And that became Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
And I should have made a list. I didn't, because Michael McDonald was last week, and I made like a list, and I listed like 20 songs, and you go, oh, it's Doobie Brothers and Michael McDonald, but all the songs he co-wrote and all that kind of stuff, you're like, did you know that? Did Steely Dan, and he was on this, and he was on Christopher Cross albums, and he helped write a Van Halen song. And well, when you think about Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl's been the drummer. They've just other bands have needed him. I think it was Queens of the Stone Age needed a drummer for a tour, and Foo Fighters weren't doing anything. So Dave Grohl's like, I'll be your drummer. He just went and drummed with Queens of the I think it was Queens of the Stone Age. He's done solo stuff. He's written songs for other people. Mm-hmm. This is the drummer, not the singer, not the songwriter, not anything else, of one of the most popular bands ever.
Yeah.
Goes solo, and a 1 in a million shot becomes, again, one of the most popular rock bands ever. Twice in two completely separate roles. He was just the drummer. As far as I know, he may have written some stuff, and they may have given him some writing credit on their Nirvana stuff, but that was Kurt. Mm-hmm. Almost everything Foo Fighters writes, I think they're right as a group, kind of like the Beatles. Yeah, there's other bands, like all 4 people just get writing credit. I think a lot of their stuff is like that, but really, most of it's him. And There Goes My Hero. There's Pretender. Pretender's one of my absolute favorite songs ever. Mm-hmm. I love that song. I could go on. I should have made a list, but if I did, I did. Every album has 5 or 6 hits, and you'd go really 5? If I were to sit here and name them, we'd be going on. I could do this for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And so not only is everything Foo Fighter does, I love just about. I've seen them live twice now, and their live shows are amazing. I don't know if you ever saw the footage of him. He fell off the stage one night, and he broke his leg.
I don't know if I've seen the footage, but I know the reference of that.
He went to the hospital, and if I'm not mistaken, he was playing his guitar on the gurney before they let him out. He was still playing his guitar, but his leg's broken. He goes to the hospital. I don't know if they vamped, they just sort of played acoustic or something until he came back. When he was done with the hospital, they brought him back and they put him on a chair. He finished the concert. For the rest of that tour, they made him a goofy throne out of guitars, almost like the sword throne in Game of Thrones. The rest of the tour, he sat on the throne with his cast leg up on a brick thing, and played the guitar and sang from a seated position, and he didn't stop the tour.
Yeah.
I'm talking about rock and roll. He waddled his way out there, sat on the chair, and then rocked out in a chair.
Yeah.
And people still loved it.
How could you not?
Yeah. But one of the coolest things they did, and again, a lot of people don't really talk about it, they did a documentary, I want to say it's 6 or 8 episodes, called Sonic Highways. And what he did was he noticed, or he could hear that other people had talked about it, you got Sun Records where Elvis played, you got Apple Records in England where the Beatles were, you got the Wall of Sound up in Detroit, or not Detroit, but yeah, Detroit. You got these famous studios all over the world, mostly here in America, but some in Europe, where if you go to record there, there's a certain vibe, certain sound. Some rooms are square, some rooms are long, some rooms are acoustically padded, some are wood, some are this, some are that. And there's every studio, the boards are a big thing. People will go, say a studio's shutting down, and they're like, I love making music there. Their particular brand of board, but even it just being in that building, I want that board. So certain people who have a lot of money will go and buy the mixing board and take it out of the building to take it to their home studio, because this is the board that made this album or that album or whatever.
Sure.
So not only does it have some history, but there's however that board is wired, even though there's probably 100 like it, there's something about that board that sounds different, or it's in that type of room, so it sounds different.
Right.
So he went, the band, I think the band also followed him, but he went to all these studios and he talked to famous musicians that had played there and made records and stuff there. Some are blues, some are rock, some are, acoustic type bands and stuff. And he would do these little mini interviews and stuff, with blues musicians and all these things and different styles of music. And he would take notes, and he would have these really cool interviews. So a lot of music, a couple of them were things. There was a particular blues musician I had never heard of. I don't think on the one studio, I don't think I'd ever heard of him. And so he would take notes and he'd talk about it, and he watched the interviews back. And what he would do then is he would sit down and he'd take a legal pad with a Sharpie, and he would think about that location or that the type of music that was done there. And he would take certain phrases the other person said and his own feeling, and he would write a song not about the studio, this is the studio, but he would it was a vibe. Yeah. And he would just write a song. And there was one of the blues guys said something about making a quarter out of 15 cents or something like that, and it was you get to stretch. We were poor down here, and you had to do it, but so it was like that. So then he wrote a song all around that, and cool. So it wasn't blues, it was a distinctly sort of Foo Fighters-y song, but each episode culminates in a music video of the song that was made at that studio, and you see the lyrics get scrolled as they're singing in the studio while that song is made at that studio. And then at the end, they ended up releasing an album of all that music that was made during this documentary series. So if you're even a marginal, I'm assuming you like Foo Fighters.
Of course, yeah.
If you're even a marginal Foo Fighters fan, or in particular just want to watch Dave Grohl kind of do something different, if you've never seen it, I want to say it's on Prime. But again, just look for it. It's called Sonic Highways.
Okay.
And it's super, super fun. And if you like music at all, and rock music, and Dave Grohl, if you wrap all that stuff up, this particular documentary I loved it. I like how you're taking notes.
I am. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
Were you a Nirvana fan?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Some people weren't.
Oh, I was in junior high when all that was coming out. So of course.
You didn't do the I like Pearl Jam, you like Nirvana. You weren't like that.
I like them
person?
both. I like them all.
See?
I was, I was into like grunge phase, like just Metallica, Megadeth, Nirvana. Yeah, absolutely.
See, and there were people also that were weird about that too. Like, I'm an old school metalhead. I don't like that grunge crap. And then there were grunge people who like that stuff's just loud and fast. This stuff's better.
Yeah, I just.
Why not like it all?
Yeah. But I also like New Kids on the Block and like all that other stuff. That
I wasn't
was
a huge fan of New Kids on the Block,
Cher,
but yeah.
I mean, I liked, I just like music,
Yeah.
but I think just because like that was the crowd, in junior high, you're like, oh, Kurt Cobain, and everything. I remember where I was when we found out he died.
Do I remember where I was?
Yeah, I was in
I don't know
school.
if I do. I don't know if I remember. I'd have to really think about the date where I was, and then I might remember.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember hearing it in general.
I remember junior high and I was crying. I was like, what was it? Because this was like the first time we, kind of experienced someone that large, and then kind of the word suicide, and just kind of, what?
Before that, you really only, and it wasn't suicide. You had a big star like that, like in Elvis or
that. Still that was
before your time.
I mean, not before my time, but because he died in the
79, 77, 79.
I thought it was later than that.
I don't think so. I could be wrong. I think it's in the late 70s.
I thought it was the early 80s.
I could be wrong.
Let's take a look real quick.
But yeah, well, what other people? Well, we don't want to dwell on suicide.
No, but like not even that, but like death in general. No, it was 77. For some reason, I thought it was 80.
I'm drinking major rock deaths. Well, again, all the music would have been at that time. Especially, you had a lot of the pop music was younger. Your Tiffany's, your Debbie Gibson's, your New Kids on the Block.
That was 80s stuff. So I remember all of that coming out, and I remember people singing the songs that,
But those people weren't particularly old, and none of them really hurt themselves to the point where they died. So
yeah, no, there were, there's no tragedy, like the day the music died or anything like that. Bamba type stuff. None of that.
Yeah, that didn't even happen. Mass accident or an accident.
No, I don't really remember. Not that I can remember. So like being in junior high and like that just the influence of that music and
the only other one I can think of is Stevie Ray Vaughan died in the helicopter right over here by Chicago. But again, that would have been a kid in junior high in the late 80s wouldn't have given a crap about Stevie Ray Vaughan. I mean, I did because he's awesome, but now you might like him, but even that wouldn't have affected you. A Beatle dying, that was early 80s. George Harrison died late 88, but again, other than Got Your Mind Set on You. Oh, well, that's a good one. That might have been, I think that's early 90s. Was Freddie Mercury, I think.
But still, that was probably older crowd, right?
No, because I don't know more than me.
I don't remember. I knew of Queen, because again, my dad loved Queen,
sure,
right? So, I remember knowing about the music, but I don't quite.
You wouldn't have been like a Mercury fan.
Not enough to be like this is traumatic.
Sure.
But I do. I remember being in school and it's not like you got tweets or anything about it.
That
so
also
like,
didn't exist.
I think somehow like a teacher or we found out either it was like somebody had found out either before coming to school or something like that, but it was going around and it was like one of these like, what?
Yeah.
Holy cow, that was huge.
Yeah, Kurt Cobain was massive. I remember people going to his house. I remember people, like you said, crying like visibly. Like you'd be like, "What? Oh my God, he died!"
Yeah.
There really wasn't anything like that. I'm trying to think since then what would have been a massive one.
Well, like Michael Jackson, you got Prince, you got big ones like that. Whereas like Michael Jackson was supposed to be on a concert, he was going on tour, and that happened. Prince
is a big one.
Yeah.
Again, whatever you think about Michael Jackson, he was massive, so a lot of people
right.
are sad. But Prince, on the other hand,
I remember
nobody really said bad things about Prince.
I remember I bought my a car the day that he died, and I remember
Prince.
Driving off the lot and had the radio on, and they said, "Oh yeah, cutting it that, Prince is died." And I was like, "What?"
Wow.
Yeah,
that was huge.
It was
I was getting my comics when I found that out. I was at my comic store when that happened.
It's like certain things you remember, like where that happens. But Nirvana was huge, and Dave Grohl. He's done so much. He's been around. I mean,
still around. Like I said, he's doing the Fraggle Rock thing.
He had the show. Like he did, I think it was his mom.
Oh, book.
but he did. There were.
There
I
might have
remember
been a
watching. Yeah, I
documentary
remember
about it.
watching some things on that.
But yeah, he wrote a book with his mom about. I think the mom wrote it, and he co-wrote it or something. But the idea was
It's like, this is my being something about
like
son.
support. Yeah, it was like kids and moms being supportive of kids, like doing sort of non-traditional
They did do a show
things.
because they went to other
moms.
moms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that one even branched out more. It wasn't just being a rock mom. I think some of those people in that, the thing you're talking about, I don't know what that's called, but I think some of them were even like sports moms and
It was
other
like
stuff.
growing up with it was like, gosh, now it's gonna. What was kind of the name of it? Something about. I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah, I don't know if it had the same name as the book, but there's another documentary. If you like Dave Grohl,
Yeah.
it's him and his mom talking about like. I think the gist of it is like she was an untraditional mother in the sense that he was like, I don't want to do what everyone else is doing. I just want to be a rock and roll guy, and she was like, all right.
And I think that was kind of
Like she was cool about it.
It was like the premise of how that like you have these unique individuals that like you do have to parent them differently, and they're not gonna swing to the same on the swing hinges as other people. So I think that was kind of like the premise, and then they went and talked to other moms of people that
were exceptional in other ways, maybe not in school, but
right.
they let them kind of flourish.
Yeah,
It's got to be brave as a parent because you got to weigh that against like, wow, this could be the biggest, most enormous mistake I'm there and me was ever going to make. Because, okay, if you're going to drop out of school, you're going to do this, you're going to focus on, okay, you got to do 100%. Oh, I will. And then nothing comes of it.
right.
It's like, now you're 40. What's
think on
happening?
the other side of how many may have been thwarted because they weren't supported, and they, we could be having the next David Grohl, and like, no, you need to do this.
Well, there's certain people too, I imagine, like, again, one of these days I'm going to talk about Tori Amos. Like, there's certain people that just have, like Prince. He was like 15. Everyone just knew. Dave Grohl clearly knew what he was doing when mom was like, all right, if that's what you want to do it 100%, and I can see it, so you're good. Like, there are people that you just know.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, then you got to do what you got to do. Like Tori Amos, they knew when she was young. I think she was like 8, and she was put in some amazing school in New York. Like, look, just go do this. Yeah, you had to do schoolwork, but like, she was already like making piano pieces that were, amazing. There are certain people that just have that, whatever, sports, when you walk out of high school, like a Kobe Bryant or whatever at 18 and
Tiger
be like, all right,
Woods.
go into it. Yeah, Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
Well, that's a whole other thing, dad being the way he was. But again, that kid was playing golf at 9.
Yeah.
And people going, oh, he's amazing. Serena Williams. There's certain people, obviously, that just, you can tell. And I imagine it's incredibly hard as a parent to go, yes, I know this is amazing, but will others be cool with it? Because all it takes is one bad step or one slipped ACL or one blowout in ear, so you're tone deaf now or whatever, to ruin all that. And then you're like, okay, now what are you going to do?
Right.
Like,
right.
yeah, that's got
it's
to
a
be
gamble.
rough.
Yeah.
But
on the other
look
side,
what amazing stuff you get.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to listen to Fraggle Rock by.
Yeah, I'll
Foo
also
Fighters.
put a link in the thing.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I'll also put a link. I'll find that documentary. Yeah, I don't know if it's the same name as the book, but I'll have to look. I'll find it.
Yeah.
So what do you got?
So the next one.
Didn't mean to yell.
Well, there goes my music career. So the next one I was talking about is, something that I've been really, getting is kind of playing off a little bit about, like, introducing my kids to stuff is like just the nostalgia, and I turned 40, almost.
Do you need a walker yet?
I know. I feel like my back is hurting, and it was like at that shift, it was like, man, there's a lot of things that I remember and really enjoyed. And, you see all these things coming back, and it's like, oh, God, why are they bringing that back? And I think that prompted me to be like, what were some of the really good things about, growing up in the 80s and 90s and, to bring Cobra Kai back, right? And so, like, I'm watching the 4th season of Cobra Kai now, and, right? The 4th?
Yeah.
I think it's, the 4th season. And just, like, it's not great, it's great, but man, I would love it. Like,
yeah.
Because what I really liked about is, like, the Karate Kid was just, I remember doing the the thing kick
Crane.
with my the crane with
Crane
my
kick.
we had the headband, and my brother was a Karate Kid for Halloween for like 3 years in a row. You know, just like it was just that was the thing, and to see them like bring up like that the rivalry, like the LaRusso Lawrence rivalry from that. Normally we don't get what happened. You know,
Sure.
like what happened when they get older, and now I'm watching. I was like, yes. Now I get to see like, oh, they're still rivals. Like Johnny's Johnny, but I really liked how they flipped it. Like LaRusso was poor and not from the right side of the tracks when he was in that, and Johnny was, and so how things flipped and bringing Allie back last season was spoiler if anybody has.
Yeah, and all of them.
they
Chosen and
Tommy.
Mariko.
Oh, from two.
Yeah, from
Right.
Okinawa.
But even like
and
Tommy and
he passed away.
that was
That's sad.
But that episode was really awesome because they did that. Like he died shortly after they did that, but they wanted to include him in that, and like I thought that was really cool.
He even says something poignant. I wish I could remember when they're sitting on the logs and it's just the two of them.
Yeah.
He says something to him. It's kind of poignant because
Yeah.
he probably knew he didn't have much time. left.
But that's why they and
Yeah.
they did that.
That was nice.
I was reading about that. But yeah, just like the old music and just so cool. And I think it's just like, as I've gotten older, and I know I'm not that old, but it's just so cool. Like when coming this far, being in your 40s now. It wasn't, I've been in my 20s and you're in your 30s, but like something about hitting 40 just made me realize like, man, I'm like older. I feel like established. I feel, now I actually talk to people. I'm like, wait, I am an adult in the room kind of thing, But I love going back, and I've rewatched, talking about the 2 years we've been down, I've rewatched Golden Girls. My affinity for the Golden Girls. I've watched it probably twice now in the last 2 years.
all of it.
From beginning to end. And I laugh hysterically every time I watch it. It's just great, and how to see Betty, passing away was just a huge blow. And I love that saying that someone wrote, like, imagine living that old and still being thought like you're gone too soon kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what she was.
She lived a full life too. It
lived-
wasn't just she was
No.
old, but it's too early. She was doing that stuff in her 20s and 30s, like fighting sets. She had the
Betty White show the Elizabeth. It was the Betty White show where she had the black dancer.
Yeah, and they were going to shut
Yeah.
the show down. She said, "Well, then fine, shut it all down. I don't care."
What?
Yeah,
Yeah,
good for her.
First producer, but like just watching all these old shows, and I was, so watching all those old movies that we talked about, the Golden Girls, Three's Company, watching stuff like that. Even like going back when I wasn't even like Carol Burnett's show and like all these awesome ones. Even Mary Tyler Moore's show is now on, I think it's on Hulu now. And I started watching some of that, but just like, so the idea of like nostalgia is like just great. I think we were still working together when the clear Pepsi came out. Didn't we buy it that one time?
Yeah.
And we was like, this is absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
But like there was just something about like getting that again.
It made me think of the SNL where they did the right now because that was the commercial.
Yes.
But it was gravy. It was clear,
Yes.
like gravy for like
I
pork or
remember
chicken,
that.
and you
Yeah.
poured it. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And they're eating it. It's it was Karo syrup
Yeah.
is what it was. The clear corn syrup.
Yeah.
But it was they put the clear Pepsi and they're pouring it on like their ham and shoving it in their mouth. But yeah, it's great.
Yeah, no, I just, so I think, I don't know what it was about like turning 40 just really got me to like want to go back and relive all these awesome things that, I don't know, it was just remembering like the simpler times, or I'm not sure, but it was, I love going back and watching old things. So like when you talk about a new movie, I'm like, it's a new movie to me, but it's, it's an old movie, but like, I love that stuff, and like going back watching, you talk about Goldie Hawn, like Overboard.
Oh yeah.
I remember watching that. Probably shouldn't have at the age I was when I was watching it, but
Nothing too racy there.
no, but I don't know. I was young. I remember being probably like 8 or 9, watching that over and over. Not a great movie,
Overboard,
but
though
like,
I can't. Oh yeah, that was probably okay. I'm trying to think of something she would have been in that would have been racy. I mean, he was obviously in action movies, like beating people up and bloodying people. But like, as far as her, I don't, she never really got like, racy.
Yeah.
Like, naked or anything.
she was wearing 90s though.
Skimpy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Goldie Hawn.
Goldie Hawn. Yeah, Death Becomes Her kind of stuff. But
That Becomes
yeah,
also
just
great.
watching old stuff. So like my wife and I, we watched, Death Becomes Her. The kids even watched it.
Really?
Yeah, it's silly.
Yeah.
But great movie. Bruce Willis is in it.
We talked about
Meryl
him last week
Streep.
or the week too.
Yeah, Meryl Streep. And I think that's one of the things, like, I find, like, these old movies, like, I love Meryl Streep, so I went back and watched, like, Out of Africa, and she's not in a lot, but Kramer vs. Kramer, and, like, some of these old movies, and it's just like, man, I just remember, even if I didn't really watch it then, there's just something about watching an old movie that just, I don't know, if you experience it, it just transforms you back into this.
Well, you would know more than I. Again, we're probably not going to talk a lot about this, but you're a doctor of psychology, and so I'm sure there's something in there where the way I've always, people have told me, like grandparents and stuff, like, nostalgia's great. You don't want to stay in nostalgia too long, because then you're only pining for what was, and you're not sort of here and now, and you're not thinking about the future. But there's something to be said for whether it's just that little dopamine hit or serotonin or something like. What I've always been told, like, it was a simpler time, especially when we were kids.
You're not adulting.
No
right?
responsibilities, no bills, no, work. School's one thing, but work is a whole nother thing. Mortgages, kids, like kids. That's a whole nother.
Responsible for another human
life.
Like, what?
Relationships. You don't really have any of that when you're a kid. And that's what they always joke. I was literally just listening to something else, and they were talking about music, and they said, when you're 12, if I read off probably one of 100 songs when you were 12 years old, you could probably tell me the name and probably sing along with every single one.
Yeah.
But if I told you to do that, even in the last 5 years,
I don't
even
know
songs you like.
I don't know much about the music now.
Because when you're 10 or 12, it seeps into your brain. So hearing that song, when it pops, again, you probably know more about the chemical makeup than I do. Like, obviously you do. But, like, I'm sure it does something
memory.
not only chemically,
right,
but then it pops a memory, or it pops an emotional response that's on top of that, and all that stuff's layered at once, and it probably does something, again, like serotonin or dopamine or something, gives you a hit. It's got to feel good.
Yeah. And you're right, you don't want to live in it like I want to go back to...
Unfortunately, there are people...
High
school is my favorite time.
Yeah, it's like,
and then they can't get out of it. High school is the only time.
Yeah, if you maxed out it in high school, call me.
You need to talk to someone.
Call me. But yeah, no, that and there are people that struggle with that, especially as life gets harder. But and I don't know, why. But 40 was just this like number that was just like, holy crap, like 40. Because I remember being younger and be like, 40 is old. And it's like, no, I'm 40. I'm like, I'm older. I know I still have years ahead of me, but like, holy cow, like, it is true. People in my age, the decade of 2010 just didn't exist. Like, it was either 90s or like now.
Sure.
So like something came out, was like that Celine Dion song.
I like the way she sings.
From Titanic. The Heart Will Go On or something. And they were like, oh, yeah, this got 30 years ago. I was like, wait, what? Yeah. Like, how? Like, no, that was 20 years ago, because you're adding a decade. And it's like, no, I'm losing. I don't remember much. It's like certain decades. But just going back and just really enjoying these old movies again. And, having to explain, like, why are they talking on a phone on the wall? It's like just so cool to go back to be like, you don't have this stuff. And
yeah, how much stress, and you don't have to worry about any of that.
None.
The only stress you had, at least me, was because I had to check in every so many hours. Like, I could run free, which you can't do anymore now. But, we could all run free pretty much, especially me. I'm a 70s
Till
kid.
the lights came on.
They were like, whatever, just don't die. Like, if they loved me, but, it was way different.
Yeah.
The only thing I had, even different, I think, than my brother and sisters, was every 2 hours calling.
Oh,
like,
serious?
I'm alive.
Yeah.
And you might have to say where you are. Like, oh, I went to this mall, or I went here, or I'm at the 7-Eleven, or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, no cell phones. The only stress I had was, all right, 2 hours is up. I got to find a payphone somewhere. Sorry. And I didn't have a quarter.
Collect call. Yeah. I'm fine.
I
didn't
take carry quarters with me.
No.
That's the only stress I had. But these things, social media and all that stuff, watching a simpler movie. Like, when you watch Seems Like Old Times, you'll get that. Again, it's a 70s feel because it's right at the end of the 70s. But it for me, that's my wheelhouse. I'm
Yeah.
almost 10 at that point, and so all the horrible clothes and everything's brown and orange in the house.
I'm an 80s. Like,
Right,
I was born
right.
in 80s, so I was
You still saw
very
houses
much
with that stuff.
Yes.
But you get that hit. Like I to this day, even when I talked about He-Man, like I'm almost 50 years old. I'm only a year and a half away, right? I'm just shy of 50. But if I hear He-Man's theme somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
I think the first thing that pops into my head is coming home from school, racing home, turning on the TV, and hoping it was one I didn't see because I get to see maybe a new character, and I can held off my
They weren't
magic
like
sword
Saturday
and said-
morning.
No, it was after school, but they would play a lot of reruns
I
because
can't
there'd only be so
remember.
many seasons where they'd only have so many in the hopper. They'd get through them. There's like 200 episodes or something crazy, but they'd have only so many in the hopper. And
Right.
they'd hit it, and then they'd have to start playing reruns. And they'd play them out of order and this and that. But then
Right.
all of a sudden you'd come home and there'd be when you'd hear the theme music, the title would come and go, I don't remember this one. And then all of a sudden it's some guy you've never heard of, like Clawful would pop up, a lobster guy, and you'd be
Yeah.
like, what is that? It's a guy that looks like a lobster.
Yeah.
But like I'll do the held aloft my magic sword and said by the power. Like I could do the whole thing. I guess they say every 20 years. That's why like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles gets reinvented. We were talking about He-Man. Every 20 years it seems to pop back up. Star Wars, a whole new trilogy comes out every
Yeah.
20 years. Like
Yeah.
it's like this weird 20-year hit.
Mm-hmm.
Where everything comes back around. Everything when you were a kid now becomes, I have free spending money. I'm an adult. I can go buy a fancy DVD box set for $300 with every
Mhm.
Golden Girls episode. I can buy a $150 He-Man figure because I'm an idiot. I can, like, they want to resell you your childhood because
Yes.
what does it do?
I'll buy it. I'll buy it.
You get the hit.
Yeah. Golden Girls stuff comes out, I'll buy it. Like you got me the Pez ones.
Yeah.
And the only one you didn't get me was Sophia.
I couldn't find her for the life of me.
So they're up there. My daughter, they can name the characters if they're on. They'll watch. I'll have it on while I'm working. They'll come in my office and they'll be like, "Oh, are you watching Golden?" And they'll watch. And so they know. I feel like I'm doing it right. Like I know the characters, and so I bought Sophia.
Oh, you
And
found
yeah,
it?
yeah, I just on
Great.
eBay.
Out of curiosity, how much you have to spend? If you don't mind telling.
Yeah, it was less than 20 with shipping.
Yeah, I think there were like 8. So
Yeah.
double makes sense.
It,
I mean, you can't
probably
find
even
it.
less than that. It probably could have been even less than
Oh,
that.
with shipping it was 20.
Less than.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good
That's
condition.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then my brother, I got the little people one, and I got
Yeah.
mugs and socks and like all this stuff. And it just,
Did I get you the Funkoverse games with the two sets? Before you leave, remind me. I'm going to show them. I think I showed you a picture, but there's a game you can play that it's called Funkoverse. It's the little pops, but they have tons of them. Like Kool-Aid Man is one,
nice.
but they come with these little boards, and you can play like Hero Clicks, which I'll talk about here at some point. I know you've seen them before.
Yeah, I did not play them.
But they have Funko has now made this board game thing, and they're all interchangeable. So they have like a Batman set, a this set, a that set. There's like a Kool-Aid Man one-off, which is the Kool-Aid Man in a box,
Yeah.
but he comes with his own little pieces. But you can just like Hero Clicks. You can be like, all right, I'm going to be Sophia, Kool-Aid Man, and Robin.
nice.
And you can put like them on a team, and every set comes with a little like an object that has like a card and it has like its own special power.
Yeah.
And I think the one set in the Golden Girls has a pie, so you can
Like
like
take cheesecake probably.
yeah, maybe. So it has like the cheesecake. Well, you can then is because it has a card. It has like a function that's different than everything else. You could attach that onto your team, so you could put that on Batman because it'll give him a power that he wouldn't normally have.
That's
And
awesome.
I think one of them's a purse.
Probably,
Or
yeah,
something,
Sophia
and
always
so
had a
the
purse,
one
yeah.
set has like a purse, the one set has like
Yeah.
a pie. So you'll see people make teams. It'll be like Robin with the purse. They now have I have Thanos, so like Thanos with the pie, or you know
cheesecake,
whatever.
yeah. That's awesome.
It's ridiculous. I'll
yeah.
show it to you.
Yeah,
right?
you will. You'll have to. But I think so. I think what this kind of brought up to me was just with the Super Bowl halftime this past weekend, and having Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and Mary J. Blige, even Eminem. Yeah, I was a little older for Eminem, but he was still when I was in high school. And that just my wife and I were watching it with the kids, and we're like, be quiet. This is when we this is what we were listening. This was really great, and I was like, oh, it was not good. It was it wasn't the best show, and it's like I think what so many people were excited about it, at least for my generation. It's like we're the forgotten generation. I think a lot of people are like, it's the boomers, and then it's the Gen Zs and millennials and all that.
Are you technically X like me?
Mm-hmm. Technically,
Okay.
yeah.
You're right at the lower end, though.
Yeah, it's like 3 or 4 years later after me is
Okay.
when it ends.
Yeah, I'm right at the beginning.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay.
So like we're like forgotten. So I think when they said all these people were coming back for the Super, like, and it wasn't like we're mixing, Dr. Dre with like Foo Fighters. It was this was a hip hop 90s thing, and it just totally got me. Once they announced it back, a couple months ago, I was like, man, I hit all the old music. I was playing all this stuff, and it was just like, man, this was. I remember being here when I was playing with this song and listening to all these things, and it's just being older now. It's just crazy how this nostalgia is just something. Like Eric's gonna play Rocky. My God, that was one of my favorite movies. Still one of my favorite movies, series even of movies. The characters just awesome. But I wish I could watch it in the theater again. But again, like I ever watched it in the theater.
Yeah,
but,
you wouldn't have.
To be able to watch it in the theater would be really awesome.
Well, we'll have to keep an eye out. He usually sees it when other movie houses will play him on occasion. It's nice to go to Elk Grove, especially during this time. I still have not gone out and like sat, other than a couple times a year. I will go to these screenings with him. There's like 40 people in the theater. Yeah, and we're 4 rows apart. Like and we're masked the whole time, and you got to show your card, and everyone's triple vax. Sure. It's the only time I go to. I am not going. I want to see Jackass. I missed out. I'm waiting. That's fine. I'll wait. Whatever, call me a scaredy cat. I don't care. I'd rather do it this way, and I'm fine with it. But a movie like Rocky will show up again, and he'll let you. Especially now that you said something to him, he'll let you know, and we'll go. I'll go again. I'd love to see it in the theater again. Yeah, it's just So I just I don't know. Just this idea of just nostalgia and just enjoying the easy things. When things come out that were like. Someone was talking about pizza puffs, eating pizza puffs in high school. There's a place, in my town that is a fast food place that has pizza puffs. And I'm like, I'm going to get one. They're like, they said it tastes like high school. And I'm like, man, does it taste like high school. Greasy as hell, right? Just dripping off. Yep, just nasty, just delicious. You talked about those pot pies. Yeah. Just like, and I remember making like cinnamon toast. Do you ever make it like you make the toast and then you put butter on it and then you put cinnamon and sugar on it? And then you put it in the oven, let it crisp up a little bit. See, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Because that almost turns into like a creme brulee kind of thing. Because it's heating the sugar and it caramelizes. And then it gets a nice crunch. Oh, see, I've never done that. Oh. Interesting. Yes. Okay. So it's just like all these awesome things that I'm like, I want to do that again. And it's like, I never really thought about much of this when I was in my 20s or 30s, but 40, man. Well, again, you probably know more. Obviously, you know more than I do about this subject. But like midlife crises, not that you're going through a crisis. That's the bad version. I would assume that's the bad version. I'm not buying Ferraris. Yeah, none of us are, unfortunately. But yeah, that would be the bad version of this. Like, I can't handle what's going on, so I'm gonna, sell my house and get a RV and travel the world and quit my job. And it's like, no, hold on. You got a family. You got This is the easy, the nice way to have that kind of, not a crisis, but relive some of the things that made you happy without throwing away the good stuff that you have. Yeah. And like, so many things are coming back out, but like, just eating like a candy bar that I hadn't eaten, I had a Butterfinger for like the first time in so long. And I remember having, when I don't do that anymore. I don't eat Butterfingers anymore. So like, not even like Halloween. You don't get the little. Not really. No, they're not usually in the packs that like I get, and if we do get them, there's like 1 or 2, and my kids will eat it. But like just even doing stuff like that, it's just I don't know. Just I'm enjoying going back and reliving shows, and when Dallas had that reboot, back not too long ago, but I remember being a kid and I didn't watch it, but my mom would let me stay up and cuddle with her on the couch. Like I'd lay on her lap, she'd play with my hair, and she'd be watching that, and I knew of the characters. But like you see stuff like that, and you're like, man, that really brings me back to it's stuff, funny now that you mention that, because there were shows I know I sat and watched with my mother. My shows were like Three's Company. And again, I watched them when they were on.
I didn't. I watched it, on channel U.
Yes.
And, on
I
the TV you had to
that
click
was,
through.
That was my 9 o'clock. I had to go to bed. That was my bedtime was 9, and Three's Company was 8:30 to 9. So when the I knew I had to go to bed. So it was on at night, and it was on prime time. That's when I watched it. But so those are my shows. Night Ride. All that stuff was kind of still on the air when Three's Company was ending. But at that same time, there were shows I wouldn't purposely watch, but I would watch with my mother, like Fantasy Island.
Yep.
But when you said Dallas, that was huge.
Oh, huge.
In our house. My mother loved that show. Knots Landing, which came off of that, because they were like the brother and sister-in-law of the people and stuff.
That, yeah.
So you watched that, watched Knots Landing, there were shows. So when you just said that hit me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I hadn't thought about Dallas in probably 20 years,
Oh, yeah.
and you just did that. I'm like, I can sit on the couch. I remember sitting and
Totally.
watching Dallas with my mother.
Yep.
The two of them fighting in the pool, the two, the main ladies, the women.
Ladies.
Yeah, ladies. Hey, lady. The two main women. I can't think of their names, but one of them, the dark-haired one. Yeah, because they ended up fighting and they're like punching each other in the pool and stuff. That was a big deal on TV.
Yeah.
You didn't see strong women kind of duking it out like that was unheard of. But yeah, you think about like it's just so much easier. You remember sitting on the couch. I remember sitting there watching that with her.
Yeah.
There was no worries. I'm assuming that's what you get out of that, right?
Yeah,
Is there
yeah.
something
Oh,
I'm missing?
yeah.
Like,
It's just-
psychologically, is there something else?
No, it's just this, like, I just enjoy going back because it does transport me back to this time where, like, not everything in childhood is great, and, there are good things about being older and, all this stuff, but, like, there is just something, like, even smells and certain things that just, like, kind of bring you back to that time, and it wasn't something I really focused on much in my 20s and 30s. I remembered, certain things, and certainly I've always loved Golden Girls and always loved Back to the Future. But once that 40 hit, it was just like anything that I can kind of get my hands on to like enjoy just those moments of nostalgia. I'm still like I seek it out, not like in this like desperate kind of way, but like just to like enjoy these moments. And I often do them by myself. Like I'm often watching these movies by myself. I don't need to incorporate my kids or my wife or anything in it. To me, that's just these moments that I have, and it's just I'm really enjoying, some of these things. I actually saw one of these tweets where this girl's like, "Look at these jeans, these Jordachis," and this woman cuts to this woman. She spits with it. She's like, "God damn it, Jordache!" It's pronounced Jordache. It's like, oh my god, these people. It's like, you'd mentioned I'm a doctor, and I, people that I see, and some of them are younger, and it's like, some of these people have never heard of Clint Eastwood, have never heard of Robert Redford, like, we were talking about the
okay, boomer.
That's what, and like they'd never even heard of Mary J. Blige, and it was like,
well, that seems crazy.
See, like that stuff, like
I can see the other two.
I
Mary
can't
J. Blige.
fathom that because like I have kids, and my kids know who Betty White was, and Cher and people you wouldn't know, but what are your parents doing? Like, well, that's the stuff I don't understand. It's like I remember being taught things that my parents enjoyed, and.
Well, they were just around the house. You just heard it because it was
did.
there.
Leslie Gore and things that like people who would Leslie Gore. It's like, well, my mom like it's my party and I'll cry if I want to, kind of. Yeah. And we had all this stuff, but like, I remember, to me that would be like me not knowing who George Burns is.
Yeah, because when you think about it, Clint Eastwood's now in his mid to late 90s.
Yeah.
Which George Burns was only in his 80s when he was making like Oh God Book 2, all that kind of stuff. He ended up being 90. I think he died in his early 90s.
99 or 100, I think.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
Okay,
right, something about that. Yeah.
But yeah, it would be like that.
So that would be like me not knowing who George. Like I knew who George was when he was alive. Like I remember him when he was alive.
But he also did very mainstream. See, and that's the hard part, right? So that's where you see. I wonder where the disconnect comes. We also had a very narrow amount. You had 3 TV stations.
Yeah, you're right.
And if you saw movies, there were only some. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying
but you're right.
There's only so many movies that would come out. Well, now it's everything streams. Yeah. Everything's on everything. Everything's accessible. Everything is, and there's a million movies. And if they're not in the movie theater, they're streaming. If they're not streaming, you can buy them. You get a million places. The library, Barnes and Noble, everything has them. Hell, like Jewel sells them for crying out loud. Like they're everywhere. And the internet now, like we're doing this, like I joke, like for it's not a ton of money Gonna Fly Now. Not quite sure. What's that from? What did I miss, Childress?
I wonder if that's the movie you were talking about. The movie that Chase and
No.
no. Gonna
Charles Grodin and De Niro.
What
Eric.
about Encanto?
Yeah.
Yes,
We haven't
girl.
seen it. She hasn't yet. But
Yeah,
she,
no,
I don't think she
she
has
did.
now.
You didn't
Okay,
want to watch.
yeah.
You were watching wrestling.
I didn't say I wanted to. Didn't want to. It's just one of those things where I was like, I'll watch it, and she was like, I want to
So
watch
good.
it now.
It's so good.
Yeah, I heard. See, we're going off topic, but I want to like Lin-Manuel Miranda. I want to like him. I don't dislike him, and I know, even with the little bit I've heard, he's obviously incredibly talented. I am not crapping on the guy at all. I get it. It's one of those things where, like Cobra Kai, where I know I would probably like it. I just have to make the choice to go, okay, I'm in the mood to do this now. I didn't
Have you not watched Cobra Kai?
I've now watched it.
Okay.
All of it.
Oh, okay.
We binged it in like a week and a half.
Yeah.
Like, it was 4 episodes a night, like, every night for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But, here, I'll show that one.
Rocky.
There you go.
How dare you?
No, not Rocky.
No,
oh,
he's
yeah,
saying
gonna
how
fly,
dare
not gonna fly. Yeah, how dare you? What's the Charles Grodin movie, the bounty hunter movie with De Niro? Childress. So, yeah, where was I?
You want to.
I want to like him. It's just gonna be one of those things where, you know, I think Hamilton is now streamable.
It is,
and so I can hit the Hamilton. Well, look, it's huge, and it clearly made him a star.
It is good.
Yeah.
It's not Encanto.
No, I get it. But the vibe. It's his music, his writing. It's a different thing. It's culturally
It sounds
different.
similar. I mean, the way he
rap.
writes and the way he is very similar. But
Tick Tick Boom is
Boom
not good. What's the Childress? What's the
Midnight Run?
Yes, that's it. Midnight Run. But yeah, and then there was the other movie. What's the Lin-Manuel Miranda movie that came out before Encanto? Childress.
Oh, The Heights. The
Heights, is that what it's?
Yeah, In the Heights.
In the Heights. Okay. So yeah,
Right?
In
the Heights.
I know there's multiple things I would enjoy if I just sat down and watched them. Like, I want to see I lost my train of thought. I want to see Childress loved it. Rita Moreno. What the gay movie?
West Side Story.
Yeah, I couldn't think of it. I was just thinking Marita Moreno in my head.
Spicy number.
Little spicy number.
I saw you. You made that quote when you guys were.
But yeah, you know, I want to watch it, and I know I will enjoy it. It's just one of those things where I know I have to. Moana.
Such a good movie.
Yeah,
though.
that's another one. So, like,
Yeah.
I know I would
Heights,
like them. I just have to make the choice to watch them.
Just watch Encanto.
That's what I hear. Everybody
Like
loves it.
before, and like it's it's not a sequence of movies you have
Yeah.
to watch. You know, so yes, Hamilton's good. In the Heights is good. No matter what slack he got for that, you know, I get that.
Right.
And I appreciate that, but
It's a
it
different
was
discussion than
yes.
the quality of the movie.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
It can be had, but it's different.
Absolutely. Encanto.
Yeah.
Great movie.
I heard.
Great movie. The message was great. It like bawled my eyes out. There was a song in there that like
Coco,
oh my
Coco
gosh.
did that to me.
Coco. was
Coco
good
hit
too.
me hard at the end.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle the end of Coco.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's a part at the end of Encanto where I just
Yeah.
literally bawling. Yeah, she knows. I
Yeah.
just bawled. But there's a song in there.
Lawrence of Arabia. he did music for that. Childress is throwing out just random movies now. Yeah. But yeah, we were talking about nostalgia.
Yeah,
and stuff,
nostalgia,
and so
just-
you said that's the funny part now is when you think about it 20 years from now, your kids will remember Encanto and Moana and
Oh yeah.
you know, like every girl that Childress and I worked at the video store with could not stop playing Little Mermaid. We would put on probably 40 different movies, and half of them obviously were action movies. You know, you throw on Die Hard, whatever, you know, they have in the background when we worked at the video store. Every night was Little Mermaid.
Aladdin was for me.
Well, that's
I was in
yeah.
I was in junior high, and I remember a whole new world, and just like, oh, I love it. Totally, that was one for me. Aladdin.
Took a shot. But yeah, it's there's nothing like it. I mean, look, there's arcade machines back here.
Yeah.
Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Batman the Animated Series. I'm gonna open that up one of these days and show everybody what's inside. I have my. I was just talking to you when we started. One of these days I'm gonna open this.
Oh,
it's the reissue of Slave One, the Boba Fett ship. It's the big crazy version. This is all like I just live in nostalgia. I don't live in it.
No, right, but
I when I find something that I can appreciate,
absolutely.
I am very much like that.
Yeah.
Look, seems
But
like old
you've been-
times. It's a
but-
40-year-old movie at this point. 42 years old. Seems like old times.
That's how old I am.
Yeah, and I will watch it tomorrow because it makes me feel good.
Absolutely.
Again, that's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
Like, talk about what makes us feel good.
And I think that's what. And I think
Pocahontas.
that's.
Oh, that's for you. Mrs. Fun said, "Yeah, that's. I bet you that's a nostalgic. Animal Olympics. That was put out on DVD, right? Didn't you end up finding out that was finally put out on DVD? Childress will tell us. If we can get you a copy, you got to show your kids Animal Olympics. To this day,
I don't think I've ever seen it.
You haven't. It was way before you.
Okay.
It was on cable. It was never out at the theater, and I think it's like 40 minutes. It's very short. Some of the most stupid, hilarious. It's like Animal Olympics, and there's like music, but stupid jokes. If I can get you a copy, you got to sit and watch it with your kids. You're gonna love it. Not too bad for family.
So
okay. We'll get you a copy.
Okay.
And I will personally give this to you as a gift for the kids because oh my god, it's hilarious.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's just it's and again, not something I really thought about or did in my 20s and 30s. I was too busy like growing up, But now that I feel like I'm grown.
Well, now, you said, you're in an established point now. You have some ability to time or whatever.
And and again, it may have started even just as like showing stuff to my kids and trying to re-explain it, and then I was like, man, I really enjoyed that time period. I really enjoyed, all,
no Blu-ray but DVD. Right?
Yeah, Billy Crystal. Yeah,
they did.
Oh, they were in.
I think they might have done voices.
Okay.
I'd have to remember that, but yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but I think that's just what I'm. I've noticed just really just enjoying just going back. And again, I think what brought it up for me to want to talk about today was the Super Bowl halftime. People saying, "Oh, it's not that. It wasn't great. It was." But I think what people didn't realize was what that meant. What that meant, obviously, for the music community and for, people of like my generation. Like I remember singing those songs, being in high school, and I think it was just so cool how it transported us back. And I'm loving watching, like reading these editorials and people commenting on like what this really meant, and people don't get like what was what was the message, what was it's like this was awesome. Like just hearing that music on a big stage like that, you don't see these people out firstly together.
I was just gonna say that.
In concerts or anything like that. And it was like now they better come out on like they better do a tour. This is just awesome. Or please come out with another album together or something. It was just so cool, and I think that's just even why I brought it up today was because man, I've been reeling in it and playing the music and just remembering what all that stuff was when I was younger, and it just man, I really have been doing that for the last couple of years now, since turning 40. I really have been going back and just really enjoying my youth.
Now's the time to do it.
But I'm not getting any younger. That's for sure.
Well, someone had made a joke, that finally this was made for me. Mm-hmm. And it's basically talking about Gen X, like you said, the forgotten generation. I was literally talking to my mother earlier today about this. Like, there's boomers, and then everyone talks about millennials. Literally, Gen X was already the forgotten generation. That's why
the latchkey kids.
It was unknown. Yeah. That was like no one knows, no one cares.
Who are you?
Yeah, whatever. Come home whenever you feel like it. We'll figure it out later. Like people cared, but it wasn't. And now they talk about it like it's boomers, millennials, zoomers. That's it. Yeah. And go. There's a whole other chunk of people in here,
like me.
And now you for the first time there was this nostalgia hit for the biggest. Probably either the first or second biggest stage worldwide, streamed online.
Whole Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah.
112
million people or something. I used to love to watch
even more.
Sister Act. Yeah, see?
Aww.
Yeah, sing to it. I mean, that's another movie that's now at this point 25 years old, like, or more.
Yeah.
112 million people, I think was the final number. 112 million watched Super Bowl.
Of this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
That's actually low.
oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think it was 112 is what
Yeah.
I saw the article for. But it's still
Probably.
112 million people is nothing to sneeze at. And you got this hit of music where like my parents don't give a crap about that music. It's right. My brother's a few years older than me, and it's right at the end of like when he started to care about it. But I was 10 in the 80s when rap didn't exist. I mean, it existed in the 70s, but it was more quote unquote urban, and white kids didn't like it until you get your Aerosmith collaboration. But again, if you knew about Fab Five Freddy and Grandmaster Flash and all that stuff from the 70s, I'm talking old hip hop.
Yeah.
But before like gangster rap hit, this was the epitome of that. There was no one bigger than Dre,
None.
NWA, Snoop,
Tupac,
all that 90s stuff. You
Biggie,
had grunge, and this is when hip hop and rap, or gangster rap, but rap in general, not even hip hop, old school hip hop, but rap.
Right.
There was no more hair bands. That kind of died.
Yeah.
What was it? Beepers,
beepers.
Pagers. Compact discs.
I was trying to tell my son to.
Smoking. Yeah.
I was trying to tell my son to save something. He was writing, typing on
Did
a
you say put
computer.
it on the disc?
And I said, just hit the disc on the, hit the disc. And he was like, the what? And I was like, the square thing that looks like a disc. And I was like, wait a minute.
He's never seen one.
Oh my gosh.
I think I have one. You should take it home and be like, what is this?
I'm sure I have one.
Okay.
Yeah. I have nothing to put it in, but yeah, it was. That's so funny that we and that is still a save icon.
Yeah.
That like, but they don't.
The
Kids don't to these days will press it, but they don't know that doesn't just mean save. You actually had to save it on. But I remember even before that the floppy disk.
The 5 1/4. Yeah.
Yeah, we call them the floppy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because technically the 375 is called a floppy disk. It's just the smaller one. But you're talking the actual flexible 5 1/4. Yeah. There was ones even when I was a kid, they were even bigger. They were like this.
Oh, jeez, no.
Yeah, I want to say they're like 8 and 7.5.
I remember the Oregon Trail putting that in there. And you had to slide the thing down.
The 70s game for it. I remember when the school didn't have. Now we're just talking about
nostalgia.
You had to go walk up both ways on the way back and forth. Yeah, just 10 feet of snow. But yeah, there was when they first got computers at the school because there was no such thing as a personal computer when I was in grade school. And then all of a sudden they got computers in the computer lab and Oregon Trail and all that stuff. But well, that's all that nostalgia stuff. I bought, I'm going to show you some of the board games real quick. But they made an Oregon Trail card game. So you can play like with a group of 4, and it's like not competitive, but like it's got all the old, really heavy pixelated graphics on the tops of the cards, and then like you have dysentery or your cow died and stuff. Yeah, but it's a card game, but it's got all the old graphics on it. You'll laugh your head off
now that you mention that, another movie that truly brings me back because I watched it to no end was Big.
Sure.
But what's great about Big is that it really does hit all the things that you did as a kid, hanging out with your friends, going to the carnival type thing, playing on these games, even the toys that he was playing when he was younger, or when he was big, and playing for that toy company.
But they were current at the time.
They were current at the time.
So now watching it, it's nostalgic.
Yes, and like the piano and like all these cool things that were coming. It's like going back to that movie. It just is awesome, and you wanted to live that life, like he lived in that loft when he played basketball in bunk beds, and that movie will take me instantly back.
See, that's the horrible part about being old. You think about how awesome it was being a kid, and when you're a kid, all you can think about is being older. Can't wait to get out of this house. Can't wait to have my own car. Can't wait to have freedom.
But
then
I'm not living in a loft playing basketball, every day.
Nobody just automatically gets a $200,000 job at a toy company. That's not how that works. That's the magic of movies.
But so that's just something that since Sunday, and again why I wrote it down was just this, love, nostalgia, and just the feeling that I get from that, and I want to soak it in, and it's certainly not taking me away from my awareness of now, but I'm just enjoying and reeling in all of the things that are coming back now, like Dr. Dre and Snoop and that music.
Well, we'll see. Literally, I want to say it was 2 days before that, 2 or 3, an article came out that Snoop
Bought Death Row.
bought Death Row
Yeah.
Records because he's still in prison, and I think all that stuff was floundering, so they still own the rights to the Dre albums and the Snoop albums and stuff. He must have pulled a bunch of money together and bought Death Row.
Yeah.
Smart, because now they did the Super Bowl show, and now all that stuff, so when they reissue it,
Yeah.
it's all Snoop's money.
Yeah.
He has all the publishing rights and the
Yeah.
logo and all that stuff, as far as I know, is publishing rights.
I'm
but,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's gonna be No, it's just great. And again, I could have handled another hour of just listening to them play. It was
Well, the
12
beauty
minutes
is
was
now-
not long enough.
You just put it into your phone or your car,
Yeah,
and
right.
it just streams it anytime, any place.
Anytime.
Instant access.
That is the good thing about technology, is I do have access. Like I said, I watch Golden Girls almost every night when I'm working in my office, and I have the 2 screens. I just, and I'm listening to Rose and Blanche, and
That's the hard part.
Such a
Children will know. I'll text him or call him every once in a while. I'll have one of those
The
fits
phone.
where I'm like, oh, I want to really watch that, and it'll be something older, and I'll search, and I don't have all the streaming services, but I have enough, and inevitably I search all of them, and it's not available.
What about Plex?
Well, Plex is different.
Oh.
Plex is, you kind of do that on your own, and there are people put stuff up there that
Oh, that shouldn't. I don't
Yeah.
have it. I'm just wondering. Okay.
you can do like a home server. Like I have like an old tower back there. I can put a bunch of hard drives in it, burn all my DVDs and Blu-rays and 4Ks and stuff
okay.
into it, and then I can make a Plex server and then tell my Xbox, my computer,
Okay.
or your cell phone to log into my network, and you can do that remotely. You can open a port on your router,
Yeah.
and then like even if you're out on the road, you can log into your home network and then Plex server yourself movies.
Oh, okay.
Some people will crack like an Amazon stick and then put Plex on it,
Okay.
and then you magically are able to watch anything you've ever wanted to watch because there's a Plex server out there that
Okay.
allows you to kind of do that whenever you feel like it. Yeah. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah.
So that was my number 2. That was
Okay.
we talked about that a long time because nostalgia is awesome.
I still do it. Like I said, I literally am going to
Yeah.
open that up probably any day now here. So you had said, I hope there's something that, maybe I don't know. I really want you to talk about something I know something about. And I changed what I was going to talk about just before you said that because I was thinking the same thing. Not that you wouldn't have known the other thing I was talking about, but I know there's something in particular that you and I have a very fond appreciation of, along with other people.
Okay.
And we still quote it to each other. And it's Check It Out with Dr. Stephen
Oh
Brule.
God, yes.
John C. Reilly, which you've known him from all the Good Night. When
She doesn't
well,
like
it's
Oh,
about that
time.
time.
Nighty
Yeah,
night.
the dog's probably wanting to. John C. Reilly, you've seen him in all the Will Ferrell movies and
Yeah.
stuff, and you know him from Step Brothers and everything. He's obviously a funny dude. Walk Hard and all that. I accidentally stumbled on it one night,
Yeah.
and I'm not a big Tim and Eric guy, although I've seen Tim and Eric Go to the Mayor or something it's called, and then the Tim and Eric Show. There's a bunch of other ones. There are things on there I find funny, but Tim Heidecker and all them, I like them, but it was never something I had to watch. Turns out he had already appeared on there, and I had never seen him. And then one night I tune in, and it's a fake cable access show
So awesome.
with John C. Reilly being this guy called Dr. Stephen Brule, and it's a character, and his hair's all messy, and his glasses are always like this, and he starts out a bad cable access show. But talk about nostalgia is when I was a kid and we had cable. When cable first was, it wasn't because what you did was you had regular TV, but you then got HBO. You had to have a dish outside your house, and you got HBO.
Oh, okay.
You didn't get cable. You just got home box
Okay.
office. You got a movie station on a dish.
Okay.
My cousin even had it down where she lives in Southern Illinois. And I remember, like, oh my God, you could watch movies whenever you wanted. Like, I didn't have to wait all year for Thanksgiving to see Star Wars. Like, this was the coolest thing ever. The cable access became bigger. There's always local access TV.
Yeah.
Either, we're near Chicago, and so you could get, like, Channel 11. But local TV federally, you could go to like your local if they had broadcasting equipment, and you could say, I want to do a show, and as long as you weren't doing, you weren't killing people or doing pornography, you could pretty much talk about anything because of the speech laws, the First
Right.
Amendment. You could talk about cars, you could talk about
religion,
things of certain nature, obviously, right? But you could get a cable access show, which was or local access, which was like a local TV, and it was
Wayne's World.
that was yes, exactly. Well, see again, people don't know what that was. That was the joke. Was Wayne's World was a public access TV show.
Yeah.
This is that imitated public access shows.
Right.
But even then, it was crisp. Yes, you had the beginning with like the non-moving placard with the camera, and it was like Channel 9 presents, and then it would kick in. But it was still, I think it was still like clear. Saturday Night Live would just show it clear. This is exactly how I remember it, which was the bad. I think they called it a not cosmic toaster or something toaster. It was a machine. Like I'm doing this now with a computer, monitor, software, and it was this machine called something toaster, and you could type the bad pixelated words and stuff, like 8 o'clock, sing song along or whatever, or the mayor, the local village board meeting would show up, and it was just broadcast locally on TV, old analog signals, and you could pick it up on your rabbit ears. But the thing would be crackly, and you could never get it to work right.
Yeah.
And that's the way this starts with that music kicks in with the crackle, and then inevitably it's edited wrong, and it was cut, and stuff would break out or scratch, and then he would start the show, Sprace. And he would talk, and he had the globes. I bet with the owner of the store name of Gringus. Yes, Gringus. Oh my god!
I remember you playing that.
And I
for me
came
for the
to work
first
and I
time.
said, "You gotta watch this. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen."
And I remember literally just crying, just literally crying in tears. I think we played it like a couple of times. Cause
the clip of him doing the planets with the planets, and he's like, the sun, the earth, the thing, Uranus, the other one,
Or like when somebody said, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah.
I know.
Doctor to doctor. He says he's a doctor. He's not a doctor. You're a doctor. He's not a doctor. And then he would have a doctor on, but it would be like a magician.
Yeah.
It's not a doctor.
Yeah.
Doctor to doctor. That was the segment. One of them, I remember going on a boat, but he didn't know he was seasick. So he's like, let's talk to a real Crapton or Crapton. Yeah. And then he'd get on the boat. They go 2 feet. He's throwing up on the boat. And then he's like, hey, you buy the boats. They catch fish. There's always a fun meal. And he opens the garbage can, and there's like shrimp. And he's eating shrimp from a trash can that had been out in the sun. He's eating them and throwing up. And everything is us. Gringus, Dingus. He can't pronounce anything right. Never remembers anybody's name.
Mm-hmm.
Tons of little segments and skits. It's usually 3. The introduction, something about like Sprace had the telescope. Hey, hot man, I like your leather jacket, cool dude. Then he uses the telescope to see across the way to the TV newscaster, which was Tim and Eric. And she's showering, but it's Tim dressed as a woman, and he's showering and soaping up his chest, and he's like, "Oh, yeah." It is the most ridiculous
Absolutely
thing.
ridiculous.
It's something I never would have thought to do, and I think it's 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Solid, just beginning to end done.
Comedy
It's
gold.
brilliant.
Yeah.
And one of our favorites, especially, he says, I met the owner of the store, name of Gringus, but one of our favorites is the one where he goes grambling to the casino, and one of his favorite machines, instead of a slot machine, talking about odds, he doesn't know what he's talking about, but he's talking about like cards and hit me and all. He doesn't. He gets thrown out because
he's doing it.
the hunks want to break your legs.
Yeah.
The hunks are the guys, security.
Mm-hmm.
But his favorite is like, we found a great machine. 1 of paper equals 4 of coin, and he puts the dollar bill in a change machine, and he gets 4 quarters. Best payout in the place. But it's the most ridiculous.
You know my favorite one though.
And I knew you were. That's why I changed it.
And it's funny that you did, because I actually was considering talking about that. But yeah, when he goes to the sperming, and he can't figure out, he defecates in the thing.
Yeah.
She's like, did you just He's
Oh, I know what you want.
want.
That it's urine, I think.
I think it's urine, and then she's like, no, and he's like, oh, I know it. And he comes out defecate. He's like, did you just, yeah. And then when they hook him up to the machine,
It's like that old, like the old timey fat, like the the
it's
workout machine with the
yep.
belt, like. Blah, 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 blah,
and they,
blah.
oh, it's my dingus. Then they do it, and he just, I'm dry.
Stop it! I'm turning off. I'm dry.
I'm dry. I played that for my neighbor and my neighbor's brother over the summer, actually. Not too long. I think it might have even been Halloween or something. They were talking about something funny. I'm like, you want something funny? Watch this, and we watched it on my phone, and they were just on the floor. You can't watch this and not be dying of just laughter.
And it's simple. Space.
Just
Or
space.
I think like beauty is one. Boats is one. Like it's the most simple subjects, but of course he goes off script and he's an idiot and he never does anything right.
And the camera when he's like, and they just zoom in on his face, and he's just because it's John C. Reilly,
Yeah.
he's not the most attractive guy, and they just make him even more
They
unattractive.
purposely jack him
And
up with
it's
the
just
hair
that
and the glasses
face, and he's
on.
just like, it's just that look alone just makes me just laugh.
When he cuts to dealing with his mother and her new husband, Dorothy Pringle Brule, because his name's Brule, Dorothy something. Then when she gets married to, I think it's like Fabian or something is his name. He has a last name, so that it becomes a three last name. Dorothy something Pringle Brule. Yeah, I want a baby. Yeah.
I can't. Everybody has it. I don't know why I can't have a baby.
I can't have a baby.
It's just the
Yeah.
best.
It's unfortunately they haven't done them in a while, and he had said for a while there that he was going to try to come back, and clearly it hasn't happened yet. But if they ever come back, even if they do one more season, I'll be a happy man. But for a while there, because again I was on cable, they pulled them all off. Thank God at the time I had a DVR and I had saved them all, so I could watch them whenever I wanted. But then when I cut the cable, you couldn't find them.
Mm-hmm.
And then HBO Max has them all.
They're all on HBO Max.
All on
Oh,
HBO Max.
I'm doing it now.
Yeah, there's I think 3 seasons total. There's only about 6 episodes per season, so there's only about 20 or so episodes, but they're all hilarious. If you just want to laugh, you're in a bad mood. If you even marginally enjoy John C. Reilly, this is not your typical. Even like your Walk Hard was like, like him being ridiculous. Step Brothers, are we, they're slapping things.
Did we just become best friends?
It's a whole nother level of absurdity.
Absolutely absurd, but it's
Yeah.
the funny. It's just the comic genius of just tapping in on like old cable and just he can't pronounce anything right and it doesn't make any sense. There's literally no sense to the show. It's just absolutely hysterical.
He falls in love. He get one of them. I don't want to ruin all of them, but like he goes, there's this girl who's like a server at a restaurant, and he's infatuated with her. And then he has her on the doctor to doctor segment, and when she says her full name, he realizes it's his second cousin. It's just it's the most absurd. It's ridiculous. And again, if you don't know who Tim and Eric are, that's a whole nother level of absurdity. But he started there. If you're a Tim and Eric fan and somehow never watched, check it out. I can't comprehend. If you're a Tim and Eric fan, you probably watch Check It Out.
I don't.
But if you're a John C. Reilly fan,
Yeah.
and you've never seen Check It Out, you
Got
got to do yourself a favor. As much as you like him in Talladega Nights, as much as you like him in Walk Hard, as much as you like him even in his serious stuff,
Not even,
as much as you're maybe looking forward to this, he has a new miniseries coming out where he's the owner of the Lakers with the guy who buys them in the 70s and sort of reinvents them.
Oh yeah,
Where he puts cheerleaders instead of cheerleaders, they're dancers. He kind of revolutionizes that kind of like we did here with the White Sox with the fireworks and stuff. That guy did with the Lakers.
Okay.
There's that miniseries coming out, which I think is also on HBO Max.
Yes.
But
I saw the ad for that.
or anything you like John C. Reilly in, this is double John C. Reilly level. Step Brothers, whatever. It's more funny than that. It's condensed. It's 15 minutes.
Yep.
You can watch 4 episodes in an hour.
Yep.
They're super funny.
You will laugh your ass off.
And you'll laugh your ass off.
Yeah.
There's not a bummer in the bunch. Every single one is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
And if I don't think the hard part is if you don't like Tim and Eric, which one of these days I'll probably sit down and watch them and see if I like them. But if you don't like Tim and Eric, some of the episodes will have
the introduction, like Brule coming on and being their local, because they had the
Okay.
newscaster characters, and then he would come on doing his little
Okay.
bits. Like, we're going to cut to Dr. Stephen
So
Brule.
he
and-
was introduced in that series.
One of them, I can't remember if the sushi one was on his show or on the Tim and Eric show, but he can't say sushi. It's shushi. And
I feel like I've seen
it might have been a clip. I think I pulled it up, and it's like the Tim
Okay.
and Eric show. I'm looking way over here. You see the back of my head. But, it's mostly, it'd be hard to try to find those in there. So if you watch all the Brule ones, the Check It Out is the name of the show with Dr. Stephen
Yeah.
Brule. Whatever you haven't seen, go on YouTube and just search Dr. Stephen Brule, and you'll know if
Which
you've
one,
seen the skit or not. There's a bunch that were just little 5-minute snippets on the Tim and Eric show,
Okay.
and there's a bunch of them on. They shouldn't be on YouTube, obviously, but again, you'll find them on YouTube. Those are all just as hilarious.
Yeah.
One of my favorites is the Maria Bamford one, where they try to gauge attractiveness. And if you're a Maria Bamford fan, which one of these days I'm going to talk about, I love her. I think she's fantastic. She's the Target woman. Hey, with the blonde hair. She's always at Christmas. Like 2 years. If I showed you a picture, you'd go, I know her.
Yeah.
She's a stand-up comedian. But she does the skit where I think it's the beauty one. And they gauge beauty. I can put this machine on you and see if, gauge your beauty. And he's trying to hit on her the whole time. And it gets progressively worse because he is an idiot. But as he's talking to her, she's very loud and kind of, I don't want to say that word. So it's like erratic in her movements. So initially she's like, oh, no, and by the end she's like, hey! And she's like screaming in his face and backing away from him like he's attacking her. She's not, but like she's like frantic and screaming at him. And it's fantastic. So, and again, I know you know it, and so anybody who's watching, or Childress obviously knows. Here I am, Sergio's on. I don't think Sergio's ever watched Check It Out with Dr. Stephen Brule, but Eric and I will evangelize how awesome.
So good.
One of my absolute favorite things ever. If I'm ever bored upstairs, if I'm ever bored, just throw those on in the background, and just listening to him talk is enough to make me laugh.
Yeah. Now that I know they're on HBO, I'm gonna go home and watch them.
That's right.
Probably a full season tonight.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're only like 6 to 8 episodes a season, I think, and there's only 3-4 seasons, so you can rip right through them. There's even an extra one I don't think they have on the streaming where he's Dr. Stephen Brule, and at one point during one of the episodes in the seasons, he mentions like wanting to be on TV or wanting to do something. So they did a special episode that wasn't called Check It Out with Dr. Stephen Brule. He imagines himself as an actor working at the local like grocery store, and so it's like a sitcom, like like that, and he comes out and he's like, I'm the new guy, but it's Brule.
Yeah.
He's playing Dr. Stephen Brule, playing a character of an actor being on a sitcom at a grocery store. You thought everything else was ridiculous. This one-off episode, it's like a half hour. It's even more crazy.
Is that on HBO Max?
I don't think so. So that you might have to find on here, or you go to Comedy Central. Yes, I think it's Comedy Central. .com. They may be able to. They may have it. Again, I'm going to throw a link into. I'm sure there's a trailer for it. But yeah, it's ridiculous. Again, he likes the checkout girls. So he's trying to hit on her. They're spilling the pork and beans that the guy's always selling on his show. The old canned meat, the horse meat. I can't even.
So awesome. And what I love about that is like we'd watch, when we worked together. It just like you drop. I'm dry. And just like you just start living. That's it. Like that's all you'd have to say, and like my day's made.
We still do.
Yeah.
Childress around Childress will say like the one of paper equals 4 coin or Dingus.
Dingus.
Yeah, Dingus was always popping up. And there's the what is it? Childress, if he's still on, will have to do the actual quote. It's something. The Casino hunks will break your bones if you have a sass mouth. That's what it is.
Sass mouth. Yeah, I have seen that.
The
Yeah.
Casino hunks will break your bones if you have a sass mouth. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So yeah, please. Again,
Yes.
we're not getting paid for any of this.
No.
One of these days, hopefully, maybe I'll make some money off of this. But yeah, again, it's you just gotta watch it, and it's only, as
Seriously,
far as I
that's it.
know, it's on cable. It should be streaming on cable, and if it's not, it's definitely on HBO Max.
I will be going home tonight and looking.
I'll get a text at like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm dry.
I'm dry. Well, now they have the gifts. They have the
Yeah.
things, and I use them all the time. People,
Oh, the Dr. Brule ones? Yeah.
yeah,
The face.
you just said that face of like, oh, it's just like people laugh because it's a funny face, but I'm like, you don't even know
No.
how funny that is.
They're already laughing, and it's a still picture of just him mugging at the camera.
Yeah,
They don't even know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just used it this week. I on a text. I could probably find it because I know I just used it perfectly to me because I know him. But yeah, gosh, that was so funny. Yeah,
It's there.
Yeah.
Whenever you need it.
Yeah,
Again, something to make you happy,
yeah.
something to make
How
you feel
old?
good.
I mean, you introduced that to me probably.
Oh, it was years ago. Easily 5, 6,
It
7
had
years
to
ago.
be. It had to be.
Easily.
Yeah.
Again, they had 4 seasons, and they would come out erratically. So one would be like 6 months later, another would be like a year later. And, so
Yeah.
you're probably talking a 4-year span, and we haven't worked together in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So you're talking 8, 9 years easily.
Easily. Yeah.
At that point. Yeah, 2012, 13 maybe.
Maybe even. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been our. Well, that's almost 10 years.
Well, it would have been 9, 10,
Yeah.
11, depending on when it hit.
Yeah. We've enjoyed
Too
it for that long. It doesn't get old either.
No.
You
But
can-
because it looks like it was made in the late 70s, early 80s anyway.
Yeah.
It's already feels old,
But
in a good way.
I watch it and I laugh the same amount of laughter that I did the first time I watched it.
Yeah,
like
it never
it's
gets
just
unfunny.
so ridiculous. And even though I know what's coming too, like even when I was playing it for my neighbor, I had to have him hold it because I know what's coming, and I just start laughing. I couldn't even hold the phone. I'm like, just hold it, just wait, and then I know what's gonna, and then you just bust out. You just can't.
And you hope because I'm sure there are people that don't have that sense of humor that's similar, that won't get it on the level we obviously get it.
Yeah.
So you
I know.
You know
I knew
80%
they would get it. I knew they would
You
get
knew
it.
80% of the people are going to enjoy it, but you hope, because you play it up so much. Every time I sell it to someone who's never seen it, I'm like, you got to watch it, and then obviously they all like it.
My
But,
wife would probably not like it.
Yeah.
So
Mrs. Fun loves
Yeah.
it. Maybe not as much as us, but she gets it. My parents probably wouldn't get it.
No.
But it's so
good.
great when you clue like when I clued you in and you're like, that's a fun. I know now you're passing on like you're evangelizing it
Oh
to
yes.
someone else.
Yeah, I think I've introduced my brother to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
So good. So what's your third?
That
Oh, real quick, Sergio, if you're still on, we were talking about Seems Like Old Times, and now it's not on Blu-ray yet, 4K, and you said he just got the Foul Play 4K. And
that's the
so
one,
so
okay.
again, if you like Seems Like Old Times and you want to see another Chevy Chase movie that's not Vacation or whatever, Community, say you're a big fan of Community, or Saturday Night Live, there is other stuff Chevy Chase did, earlier, right after his little stint on Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
The big one is the one I like, Seems Like Old Times, but the other big one is Foul Play. Again, if you like Goldie Hawn, you get a double dose of both of them together, and they're so cute together, kind of like the Griswolds, but in a different way. So yeah, if Sergio, if you're listening, tell us how good the quality is on that 4K, because every time he knows, because he knows I like it, he's like, they haven't said anything about Seems Like Old Times yet, but I got my Foul Play one. So we'll see if hopefully they bring it out on 4K, because I'm gonna jump all over that thing. Can't wait.
Like a
So
hot
anyway,
potato. So my fourth one is
your third.
I'm the fourth one. Yeah, third one.
Okay.
So my third one that I am enjoying and really getting into is woodworking. Did you know that about me?
I saw your table that you built.
Yeah, so I built a desk, and I built my patio table.
That's what I saw.
Yeah, and I've built smaller, like I built a table for like my son he wanted something to put his rocks and science type stuff on, so I just quickly had some scrap stuff on it. But really getting into it and
How good's the quality, Sergio? Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. There you go.
And getting into ADHD. I got to learn everything about it,
I'm with you.
and I need all the stuff. And so I'm building up my.
Oh, it's not 4K? I thought they were releasing both Foul Play on 4K. That was the big deal. It just had never been on Blu-ray. Oh, I thought it was a 4K print. I apologize.
Take it back.
Yeah.
I'll take it back.
Take it back.
It's not 4K, but it's solid Blu-ray. Okay, well, good to hear.
Solid Blu-ray.
Still better. It's probably still a remaster, though, right? It's still, they didn't just leave all the grain and crap in it. So it'll be like 1080p high HD on Blu-ray, but it won't be 4K. But they probably cleaned it up so it looks nicer. Sorry, didn't mean to.
No, it's all right. Yeah.
So go for it, yeah.
Yeah.
So you buying
So-
all the part? What's
Yeah,
some
so
of the stuff you bought already?
Oh gosh, I've table saw,
Nice.
miter saw, jigsaw, like and this is over the past couple of years because Duda has gotten me into doing a lot of this
Yeah.
stuff, and so I see good deals or something like that. So got some skill saw, router, a bunch of different stuff that I'm just really getting into and collecting some wood, and so like I'm gonna build an entertainment thing for my basement.
Nice.
And I bought a heater. I'm gonna put a built-in heater in there. But even over the Christmas, I've seen a lot. I'm joining some pages and stuff. But like scroll saw, if you've ever what a scroll saw is.
Scroll? I don't think I have.
So a scroll saw is just like a table. It's when you see like people that like carve their little name, name out of wood, and they have like shapes and designs and
Okay.
like like craft fair type stuff.
Well, I've seen like a CNC
So, like-
machine doing it, but that's a
Yeah.
CNC machine, either sand or water,
Cutting that
designs
stuff,
out.
yeah.
Is this the one where the little bit comes out? It's almost like an upside down router where the pole comes out and it's got like a little, almost like a bulbous, like
No,
a
it's an
rounded head?
actual blade. It's
Okay.
a real thin blade, so you can cut real fine types. So like if you see like people have like gnomes that they paint and they sell
Up and
it,
down blade like this,
Yep, up and down blade. Yeah,
and you just slide the wood like that.
yeah.
like
you
to go
cut
around.
it through.
Yes.
Yes, cut it through.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's one thing I'm interested in getting. I don't have a scroll saw, but it's something I'm interested in getting into, and but really just like watching all these cool videos and like building stuff. I got dovetail stuff that I'm working
Nice.
on, like joinery and just really getting into it. Like I needed something else to do because I needed a dopamine fix, and so Duda got me into building stuff, and I was like, all right, well I'm gonna do this stuff now. So
Sure.
built my garage. I've got shelving, put shelvings up, and my own cleat system, and doing all this really cool stuff.
Cleat
so
system, nice.
yeah,
I was just looking at the cheap Ryobi now makes
it's not cheaper.
no,
that's
the
good
Ryobi.
stuff.
So I'm talking. They have this new only Home Depot has. I just saw it the
Yeah.
other day because I've been there twice in the last 2 days. This like plastic ribbony stuff, and it's got like squares on it, and you just bolt it into your studs, and it's like a rack system. It's
Yeah.
got these, and you just buy the brackets, and you kind of snap them
Yeah.
into the squares,
Yeah.
and then so you can like put them on your wall, and, like
Mhm.
hang rakes or things or drills or whatever on them.
Yeah.
But you built your own.
Cleat system, yeah.
Yeah,
wood
wow,
and
look at
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Nice.
And just it's just so fun, and like I always talk about getting into things, and it's a cool like escape. Just go out to the garage and build things, and again learning everything that I can because there's so much in woodworking. I don't know anything as much as many videos as I've watched, and I think that's really gotten my ADHD to be like, I really want to do all this stuff. I'm not certainly a master builder or anything,
Sure,
but
of course.
so fun, so good. It really keeps my attention, and I think you probably know like some things I'm very perfectionistic about when I do, so like having to do these like clean lines and having to like line things up and make sure they're 90 or they're square and all that stuff. I should have been doing this stuff years ago, but it's just so fun. You can just escape. If I get it, I'm just gonna build this. I built like a little thing for my desk, and it's so
Nice.
fun. Yeah.
Have you gotten into like staining
Yeah,
and
staining
all
my
that stuff? So you're
desk.
not
Yeah.
just making the stuff; you're actually going that extra mile and staining it. And
Staining it or painting it. And
Yeah.
I made these little Christmas tree things for my kids, to just have. It was supposed to be a card holder, but
turned into something
cards didn't quite hold.
else. Sure.
Yeah, so just anything fun. So I'm really getting into that.
That's awesome. I had said, at the beginning of this, like I'm obviously teaching myself all this. There's 2 or 3 pieces of software. I built a computer multiple times in the
Yeah.
past, but I hadn't built one in 10 years, so I had to relearn that. But one of the things I often talked about was, I like the idea of I wanted to make something though, and I often talk about learning to solder. LEDs, you can get the big ribbons of LEDs, and you cut them, and then you just solder them on, and you can even control them, so some turn on, some don't. And I had often thought about, almost as a piece of art, there was a way to make like coffee tables.
And you could do so many things with that, like canvas of a coffee table. It's a simple either rectangle or circle or whatever shape you want. You can either do wood legs or go and get, some aluminum.
Yeah.
Teach yourself how to weld, go somewhere to maybe for a little 3-month class to teach yourself how to do some little TIG or MIG welding.
Or you just watch some videos.
Or they'll even be people, seriously, because they know people like us, like, I want to do the wood stuff, but I want to do the metal stuff. You can just buy aluminum feet, like legs. And so there'll be just a top brace and 2 down, or, a set of like a rectangle with 4 legs on it, or 2 sets of 2, or singles, 4 singles, and that way you can put them wherever you want.
Right.
There's just dudes that just make legs, circle, square, full down with a circular bottom or with an angled bottom or 45, and then they weld them and sand them, and then you can paint them whatever sort, coat them. But then you could do the wood top as being your canvas. You can make it any shape. You can put LEDs in it. I've seen people go from underneath and use a router and cut, like, say it's 1 inch thick or 3/4 inch thick. They'll cut half or 6/8 of it out. Just have a thin layer of wood, and then put like an RF charging pad, and glue it in there, and then drive the plug out the side so you can plug your table in.
Absolutely.
And then you can drop your phone in the middle of your table, and it'll charge off your table.
Yeah.
You can
Get
do all
built-in
these...
speakers. There's a guy that I was just watching a video, just almost like an Alexa kind of speaker, real cylinder kind of thing. And you push it down, but when he wants it, he just pops it up, and it comes out of like a counter almost.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It amazed me, and it's one of those things where like you could learn a million types of woodworking, but it would appear, and I'm ignorant to this, so don't anybody get mad at me or whatever. It appears the top of a table, you can make it as complicated as you want, but you could theoretically, it could be extremely easy. You just get a bunch of 1x6s, 2x4s, whatever thickness you want. Get 4 or 5 of them together, glue the sides, grab your clamps, clamp them together, and just make a big rectangle. You could just make something as simple as that.
Yeah.
Stain it, paint it. You could paint on it. Like, say I wanted to paint Wolverine on it. I could paint Wolverine on it or whatever. I could put a grid for like HeroClix Gaming, so the grid's there, but not the design. And then you can take do like a chalkboard, paint on it, and then paint the white grid on it so it's permanent. And then you could use chalk to make the map, and you could do all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah.
And that's just a table.
Yeah.
Like, you're making cabinetry and shelving units and all that stuff. Obviously, when I finish this, I'm going to be building the walls in here. But something as, quote, simple as a coffee table.
Yeah.
I know I'm probably being ignorant, but you could just
simple,
make a rectangular canvas
That
and
alone you could make easily.
do a million things with it. And I often tell her, like, we were just I was buying stuff to complete a project at the house. And Ryobi makes a couple entry level $199 plug-in table saws. There's like a 225 pivoting downward circular saw table, drop it to the 45, and then has the spinner, so you can do 45 degree angles this way, so you can do 45 and a 45 and cut it all kinds of fun angles. And that's like 225. Again, I don't have that kind of money, but eventually, like you said, one piece at a time. I have 5 or 6 tools over the past 8 years. They're all Ryobi. They all use the Lithium Plus system. And the little 150 table saw, the little one's like portable. It's got a handle and everything.
Yeah.
One of them, either that or the circular saw, is battery powered. It's not even plugged in. I don't even think it comes with a cord.
Be careful with the course, because you won't get the same.
Right. It doesn't have torque. It has speed. It doesn't have the torque to cut through larger objects. But entry level, if you just need something to cut a piece of wood or whatever.
Well, now you can just come over to my house.
Well, yeah. Now that I know you got everything.
Or it's portable.
Yeah.
Their job site stuff, so I could always bring it over.
I got the little Ryobi hand thing. It's not for wood, but I'm going to be hopefully doing some tile, and so I can use it to just do it and score it and snap it. Got the little snapper. But yeah, that's cool that you're doing it already. So now that if I do start to do some of that minimal stuff, it'll be cool to be able to come over and Dude is available. That kind
absolutely.
of stuff. I don't really know anybody who specifically does woodworking, because all I did was the minimal stuff I've done is watch YouTube.
Yeah.
Like you're doing, watch the videos,
Yeah.
and learn the little stuff. Even something there's 70 different joints for the corner.
Yeah.
Legs are made 15 different ways,
And it's a lot of, and I'm not good at math, but there, I had to get this thing that showed, if you've got a corner that's like this degrees and you need to make a cut, you have to set your your saws to certain degrees in order to make that. And you'd think, 90, obviously I'm going to set them to 45 and, they'll make that. But it starts to get complicated when it's, 60 and, okay, I want to make this cut. How do I? It is interesting, and it's fun because there's, like you said, there's just so many things that you can do, simple things. But I'm watching this one woman on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, Tamar. She just goes in her wood shop and just like, I think I'm gonna do this. She starts just like making these awesome things that just like, almost you have to like cut at a certain angle to like slide all together, and it just makes this table that just like looks so awesome. I learn to do all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna start with like, it's a bigger project, but it's pretty easy. It's just fitting it into this space that I have.
How ornate do you want to go? Right, you can make a simple version or a very crazy.
Yeah,
version.
so I'm starting off with stuff like that, and making shelving and bookshelves and stuff like that. But it's just something that's just really interested me. And as someone with ADHD, I need something that keeps my attention. I wish I could get out there more. I have all this stuff. How you just go out and buy it all. I was like, I'm gonna get everything, and
you can't.
no, because it's expensive. So if I have a project, that's the. If I buy this will pay for what we would have spent on this table. Like
True.
that patio table that I built, that patio table would have cost us close to $1,000 to build.
And now you have this device, tool that you can use for
cheaper
other
to
things.
buy that, plus the wood was still cheaper than what I would have paid to get, because it's huge. It's a huge table. And it pays for itself. Now, anything that I build now even further on it, it's paying for itself.
It makes its money back.
Yeah. I'm not
it's fun.
selling things, but it is fun. And, even teaching my kids how to make, they'll drill stuff with me, and it's just really cool. But I just really enjoying woodworking.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll build you something one day.
all right. I'll take it.
Okay.
I see all those guys make the crazy, like, I shouldn't say guys, people make like cutting, just a million cutting boards.
Yeah.
They all stack all the stuff together to make the interesting designs. It's this big, and they just chop it into 6 pieces, sand it down, router the edges.
Yeah. Once I get some more scrap wood, I'm going to do that.
Put the little juice channel around the side. Maybe stamp their name in it, and you get 6 or 8 out of a door-sized hunk of wood that they've all glued together. Yeah. And you make 6 or 8 of them, hand them out to your friends.
Boards, all And I have that, so I got like the board butter that you need, because you need a certain board butter that's like food friendly. So you can't just stain
clogs
it.
all the pores, so that it doesn't. You can't like meat juice and stuff.
Well, not only that, but you don't want hazardous.
Because it's food ready
friend,
or whatever. Yeah.
So I got that stuff. So I'm just once I build this, I'm gonna have some scrap wood, and that's something I'm planning on doing.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get a branding.
Yeah.
To do that
logo. Come up with a logo.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, queen. Yes. So that's my 3.
All right.
Woodworking.
Well, we traditionally look to something that we're looking forward to. We don't have to talk a million hours about it, but just something else that we're looking forward to, you may have heard about, or that is coming out, or there's a rumor about it, whatever. Do you want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay. As a matter of fact, Childress, who may still be on here, he reminded me. I had heard rumors about it, but he confirmed, and now I saw an article double confirming it. Not that I didn't trust him, but I happened to see an article today as well. Is Apatow, Judd Apatow from all the movie 40-Year-Old Virgin and all that stuff. You know him. His daughter's in Euphoria. If you watch that,
I do not. I'm
that
choosing to not.
That is a
my wife watches it.
BSC show.
Not, yeah.
That is, it's good, but it is crazy. So, he every once in a while, I think this is now maybe his 2nd or 3rd, if Childress is still on. I want to say this is his 2nd or 3rd documentary. In this case, though, he's doing it, and I'm looking. I think it's only in a month or 2. It's coming out. My favorite comedian by far. I shouldn't say by far. There's like 5, but I to this day, he's just the best. And unfortunately, he's gone. And now, when we need him the most, he's not here.
Oh, I think
is George Carlin.
Yep.
And you know, everything back from, you know, this hippy dippy weatherman stuff to the 7 words you can't say on TV to, you know, other comics. You know, obviously you're going to call out Pryor, you're going to call out, you know, Eddie in his time, Eddie Murphy, you're going to call out, who was the other big guy? Like, Red Fox. You know, there's these classic comedians that obviously you have to mention. They're just, you know,
What was the really loud guy? Heavier set, really loud. Screamed, like basically like screamed into the microphone.
Oh, Kinnison.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, in his day, you know, your Dice Clays are, you know, they're...
Yeah.
I like them, but they're, you know,
Yeah.
a little bit sort of next tier, but iconic. Like, you can't... Even if you don't like Dice Clay, if you say Dice Clay, even people who don't like him know who Dice Clay is. Kinnison, if you said Kinnison, they would know.
Yeah.
And they're iconic stuff, and people that, you know, obviously love them very much. But if you want to talk cultural icons in the comedy world, you go, there's maybe 3. There probably would have been 4 if Cosby hadn't done what he did. Because, you know, people loved him. Martin, Steve Martin. Although a weird part about him is he only did it for a few years and then just stopped. Again, baller move, man. You're selling out stadiums before comedians sold out stadiums, not theaters. Stadiums. Live albums, double albums with him with the bunny ears on it. Like, I had that in my house, like Steve Martin's. But again, a weird cultural icon. He only did it for years and left. But again, you say Steve Martin, people know him from the acting. But if you watch that old stuff, it's iconic. But if you want to talk a cultural phenomenon for decades, you know, Pryor's up there. But if you want it, when Carlin was a hippy dippy weatherman in, I want to say, the early 60s, I could be, might have even been late 50s, but I know it was 60s. Black and white, suit and tie, George Carlin, not swearing, doing a whole different style of comedy that people loved. He was on major variety act TV shows kind of thing. You know, they'd have him come out and he'd do his little thing for 5 minutes. Hey man, thanks. I'm the you know, the hippy dippy weatherman, and he'd leave, and you know, he'd kind of talk about maybe drugs a little bit, but that was it. You know, he wasn't the George Carlin you knew, and he had a, whatever you want to call it. He always, you know, he talks about his Catholicism and his Christianity, and maybe it wasn't so great for him, but maybe he had a weird like little come to Jesus meeting, and his whole style's changed to the George Carlin you know. Counterculture, anti stupidity is what I'll say. And there's a lot of different things he talks about, so I'm not going to get political, but what I'm saying is, you know, anti-stupidity.
Yeah.
Anti force. Oh, Corey's on.
Hi, Corey.
You know, you had this guy that people remembered as being the hippy dippy weatherman turn into this force of nature, and along with Bruce, Lenny Bruce, get arrested, and you know, I think he also had been put on trial. I know Lenny Bruce was ultimately like arrested multiple times for saying bad words and stuff in public at a theater, not on TV, not anything.
Absurd.
Yeah, you know, all these First Amendment battles they did. He was right there with Lenny Bruce when that stuff was happening. Fought for black people's rights. You know, told people to, you know, leave gay people alone. Like, you know, he was doing this stuff in the 80s when people were not really talking about that stuff out, you know, as much as he was. He was very much, yes, you know, leave me alone, let me do my thing, but also not to the fault of anybody else. You know, like, yeah, let me do my thing, but I don't want to hurt anybody, you know. And he was vigilant and fought, and, you know, coming out with a thing of these are the 7 words you can't say on TV. Kids now don't even get it. We grew up in a situation where, you know, Eddie Murphy Raw, like, hey, you go to the movies, and he's talking about all kinds of stuff you would never. Yeah, it wasn't on TV, like George Carlin said, but there are things on TV now that were part of the original 7 words you can't say on TV. People say on TV all the time now. Regular national broadcast television from 7 to 9 at night. There's only like 2, I think. Like, I can't say the other ones, but I think he at one point changed it and took 2 out and added 2 more, or made it not 9 words now or whatever. But I can't, of all the people I've missed over the past 4 to 6 years, it's been him and Bill Hicks, who it's a whole nother thing I'll talk about one day, and Childress knows what I'm talking about. But he was influential because I remember watching other comedians as a kid, SNL, tight TV. You had push boundaries, but not as much.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't show you Richard Pryor in the suburbs,
Yeah.
the real Richard Pryor, not the movie Richard Pryor.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. But then you would see Carlin specials on HBO. And it didn't need to be clean. And it wasn't, the beauty of it wasn't pure jokes. He wanted you to learn something.
Mm-hmm.
And he used his massive talent and appeal. And at any point, someone could have went, we're not spending money on you to talk about these things or to fight for people who need people to fight for them, or maybe even counter. But don't forget, I said Richard Pryor. Yeah, Sergio, you're right on. Again, you didn't. As far as I know, when I was a kid, they didn't show the good Richard Pryor, not movie Richard Pryor, the real Richard Pryor. They didn't show that on HBO. At least I don't remember them showing them. Later on, obviously, I learned all the Carlin specials are oh, nice. Childress says all the Carlin specials are going to... There's a few of them up on Amazon, I think. There's like 3 of them you can watch, but there's some of the later ones. They're still good, but it looks like he's saying they've confirmed all the Carlin specials are going to be back up on HBO Max. I've looked on HBO Max multiple times, so I could just watch... And that's when I say that, here's the other reason why. The doc is going to be amazing, because you're going to get to see some of the behind stuff, the things he dealt with. There's Larry King interviews where he wasn't being a comedian. He was being a social commenter.
Yeah.
And again, like Sergio said, Richard Pryor could do stuff on the sort of black comedian circuit. Red Fox would do that too. That didn't play in white America, especially earlier, 60s maybe not so much. Maybe in the 80s, but you didn't, white guy in the suburbs wasn't getting the Richard Pryor stuff, the hard stuff. But Carlin was a white Catholic, and he was on all those shows already, where probably Pryor initially was not. Carson used to have Pryor on a lot. But there's one, you look it up, there's one time where Carlin and Pryor are on Carson at the same time. It's one of the only times I think they're together and they're talking at the same time, and it's on Carson. But this white, this guy was the one white guy who was running around saying this stuff, and he could get it out where I don't, and again, Sergio can maybe tell me if I'm wrong, I don't remember Pryor being able to be as vocal sort of in the, suburban type stuff or HBO type stuff. Eventually they would play all that, so you can watch them now anywhere. But I love him. I love Carlin. I love Apatow, and I want to say this is the second or third, Eric, if you have to correct me. Second or third doc Apatow is done. So I'm really looking forward to it. I cannot wait. And now that he just confirmed all of them.
That's gonna be awesome.
He's so prolific. He was one of the few guys who would do one full HBO comedy special a year for like 20-something years. HBO
So
gave him a
all
special.
of those are going to be on there?
Yeah, he's saying it is. The beauty of it is he would do all of his work. You hear comics talk about him now, like Kevin Hart and some other people be like, Red Fox, Moms Mabley, yep, I mentioned Red Fox. Rudy Ray Moore, I didn't know so much, but obviously Pryor I mentioned. Yeah, Moms Mabley is another one that I didn't know so much. Now I know about her. Blowfly I've never even heard of. But yeah, Rudy Ray Moore I knew. Richard Pryor, obviously I mentioned multiple times. He's, again, top 3 ever, right? Like, you can't deny Pryor. I think he just did the Gary Shandling doc, which, well, okay, so second. I said it was the second. The Gary Shandling doc is another one you should watch, by the way, because it was right after his death, I believe. But, yeah, Red Fox I mentioned, Red Fox being on the, the circuit. The thing was, he's so prolific. You hear comedians talk about it now. HBO specials were huge. Comedy you would get one a year from Carlin. Almost dead set one a year. he would do all of his material for a year, do the special, the next day, throw all of it out, start from scratch. Comedians didn't do that at the time. Now you hear comedians go, and they'll mention Carlin specifically, like, I don't want people having to listen to me rehash the same garbage from last year. I want them, when they come to a show, to hear something new. And they almost always confirm the Carlin specials. Okay, Apatow confirmed them. So,
Nice.
the beauty is some of these, or a lot of these, are going to be before possibly you even knew
Oh.
who Carlin was,
Oh,
or
for
before
sure.
you were even born. And so the stuff I was watching in the mid 80s, hopefully, obviously, he says they're going to all be on there. This could be as many as 20, 25 specials
That's awesome.
for when he, the way back in the day.
Mhm.
And so I cannot wait. I'm so excited, and
That's
now
awesome.
this is double excited because I didn't even know this.
So
till
if that's coming, if
Children
that's
said it.
supposed to be out in a month or so, I would assume
I think it's a month or two.
I would assume it's. they're
So it
gonna be
says
out
leading
soon.
up. Maybe they'll do like one a week, and then they'll all be available
Well,
when
that
the
would be
doc comes out.
22. They would.
Or two
they
a
would
week,
need 6
yeah.
months. You know.
There's got to be 20 easily. Yeah, I miss him so much. I'll come down here while I'm doing work, and I'll put him the skits, what I can find
Yeah.
in the background, and I'll just listen to him talk. It's too good, and again, we're so missing someone like him now.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad. It really is sad. So it'll be neat to get to hear him again, the right way. And I'm assuming he'll talk to his kids. His daughter's very vocal now, not as vocal as him, obviously, and she's not a comedian, but people have tried attributing like what he would have thought of, and she'll get on Twitter and she'll be like, "Why don't you shut up? That's not what he would have said. I lived with the man. I know better."
Yeah.
Because they all want him because
Yeah.
he's a force, and certain people want to co-opt him into what they say, and she's not having any of it. And he was also not May. Okay, well, it's a little further away than I thought. It was 2 months from now.
So I mean,
It's,
still
hey,
that's not
two
terribly
a
far
week
away.
till
So
then. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm assuming you're a Carlin fan.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I was introduced to him fairly young. My dad introduced me to him when I was probably not even allowed to use that language. You
Yeah.
know, but yeah, I've seen stuff since,
Sure.
that replays and stuff like that. No, I will definitely watch those for sure.
I want to just throw this in there too. And again, I'm not going to get political, but he was the type of guy, like I said, he's anti-stupidity.
Mm-hmm.
So when one group tries to co-opt him and say, "Oh, he's on our side," more so he attacked a certain side.
Yeah.
But he was not afraid to be like, "You're just as stupid."
Yeah.
He didn't care. He would show you how stupid you were because he's way smarter than you were.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, they're idiots, but that thing you just did, that's also just as stupid.
Yeah.
A little less often than this. It's over here, but he was not afraid.
Sure.
Because
Because you got to call it out. I mean,
some people don't,
Yeah.
and that's what we're missing.
yeah.
And yeah, I can't talk about it enough. He just told me about Childress just told me about this, I think 2 days ago, and I'm like, I heard a rumor. He's like, yep, it's confirmed. And now he just said this, which
That's
makes me
awesome.
so happy.
That
I'm
is
gonna go
awesome.
check to hope maybe they start them tonight. If they confirmed it, do you know if they're gonna drop a couple tonight?
HBO Max is just blowing our minds today.
Yeah.
Stephen Brule and now possibly Carlin.
Yeah. And it's got the other thing I mentioned, which is The Life and Times of Tim and 10-Year-Old Tom. If you've never watched those, you got to
Yeah.
watch those. Just watch the first episode.
Okay.
Maybe we'll watch it. It's only 5 minutes long. I'll show it to you really quick before you leave because it's
Okay.
hilarious. But okay, so what are you looking forward to? Anything fun?
So does it have to be?
Something in the it could be 8 years in the future. It could be
Okay.
tomorrow. It could be 2 months from now.
So
Something you heard. Something in the future you're looking forward to.
I am looking forward to Avatar.
The new sequels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
coming out this year.
I think Eric can
December?
confirm. Yeah, it's confirmed.
Well,
The
it's
did they? I
been
don't think they had a
confirmed.
teaser yet.
no,
No.
they have not had a teaser yet, but it is supposed to be December this year.
Okay.
And
6
then
second delay, so it'll take him a little bit.
Technically, we're supposed to be getting every 2 years.
They're now up to 3. It's going to be a trilogy, right?
No, 5. So there's 4
5
more.
total.
Yeah,
Oh,
4 more.
I thought they were going to make a trilogy, so 2 more, and then I had heard they were going to make it into 3 more,
Now 4 more? No, Apto City would be closer to... Oh, damn it. Okay. December 22nd.
Yes.
There you go. Okay,
Yes.
so Christmas makes sense.
Yes.
Biggest day. Drop it.
Good movie. Loved the first one.
Corey. Yes!
Yes, see? Yes.
Yeah.
Super excited about it. Went to Disney last year and got to go to Animal Kingdom where they have Pandora. And it just...
I didn't know that.
Oh, yes.
That's the, like, where the stuff's hanging from the
Floating
ceiling.
tree. Yeah, they have you could fly with the banshees. You go on this, like, river thing, underneath, and they're singing, and they're, running through, and it's awesome. And so I think that just, like, I've seen it many times, watched it with my kids. My kids love it. I bought a sweatshirt. I look like an avatar.
Like the blue?
Yeah.
It has a tail.
Mine doesn't, which I'm sad, but the kids have them, and they have a little Velcro tail.
That's
on
hilarious.
It. But you put them up, and it has the ears.
Oh, the hood.
Yeah, you put the hood up, and it has the ears.
Okay.
So super, super excited about that one. I think, it's been, 5 total. Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
Wait, what's
crazy.
December 16th? Now he's got
Maybe he changed it. Maybe he thought it was
because
the
I thought
22nd.
it was the 22nd too. But if he's changed, I'll take a week early. But I think
maybe they re-released the first one on the 16th and then do the first sequel on the 22nd.
I'll do that too.
They keep releasing it. They re-released Avatar when Endgame was beating it. It beat it. They re-released Avatar just to beat Endgame again. Yeah,
it's such a good movie though,
Yeah.
and it's so cool. That's one of the things I've just been. It's supposed to come out like 10 years. I mean, it's supposed to be.
Cameron doesn't care about that stuff. He'll take forever.
But now it's supposed to. I'm hoping once this one comes out, every 2 years it's supposed to release the next one. So
Makes
2,
sense.
4, 6, and 8. And we looked at like my kids will be in high school.
Isn't that crazy?
When the last one is supposed to come out. So the date is the 16th now? I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Well, when you think about it, like when the first Harry Potter... Well, again, this all started... And again, Childress can correct us. Because it's a movies thing. It's... One of the first movies to do that was Back to the Future. I don't think Zemeckis knew that they were going to be able to make 3. And so the way he sold the sequels was, look, if you give me it now, I'll make both of them at once.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way everything can be shared, like budget-wise, and we can pump 2 out. And then they did, I think, a large portion of Lord of the Rings movies that way, and then they did the same thing with the Hobbit movies, right?
Now the new series coming out
on not HBO, where was it?
Oh, I just saw it for the first time actually yesterday.
It might be Amazon. I think Amazon.
I think it is Amazon Prime. Yes.
But
Blew
yeah,
my mind.
they started that because they knew like no one's going to give them $800 million to make 3 Lord of the Rings movies or whatever, so they figured out a way to cram them all like Back to the Future did.
Right.
There might have been a movie before Back to the Future that did that, but I don't think so. It's the actual date, then 2024,
26, and 28.
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah.
So,
excited.
It makes sense. He knew. He couldn't get Titanic, Back to the Future. Matrix did it with the 2 sequels. Back to the Future started it, so I was right about that. But then you got Lord of the Rings, The Hobbits. I think all the Hobbit movies were done all basically at once. Amazon, okay, I was right about that.
Yeah, yep.
So, you have those. I can see, like, he knew. If I'm going to be able to, if I want to do, like, I thought they were making a trilogy, and then they were going to make a trilogy of sequels. 1 was already out, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and now both of you are confirming 5.
It's 5 total, yeah. So it's 4 more.
He's probably bankrolling most of it himself because that's what he does. That's how he got Titanic done. 2 different companies put that movie out because they wouldn't, and then he gave up all of his pay in order to get money on the back end, which he made money.
Hand over fist. Yeah.
So now it makes sense. No more 3D. 3D isn't a huge thing anymore. So look, I'll spend all that money and I'll make 4 movies at once, and I'll cut all the costs out.
So excited.
That's
so
cool.
Excited. And they got a lot of people to return, And so I'm just so excited about it. I love the beginning when, and there'd always been rumors that there were going to be more coming out, and you're like, all right. And so, and again, this was supposed to be out 6 years ago. I feel like it's been a long time since. Well, the first one was 2009, I think. Yeah, I think 2009. Yeah, 2009, I think was when the first one came out. And so now just knowing that that's coming out at the end of the year, like I'm so excited. Again, going to Disney and actually like being on Pandora, it was so awesome. So I'm hoping when this comes out, maybe they'll add more to it or do other things. Disney's good about like stuff like that. But I'm just so excited about that.
I liked it.
Oh, I loved it.
I did not like it. I liked it a lot. I'm not as excited. I'm interested because that world offers so much. Yeah. I mean, that world offers so much.
It does, yes.
You got the military stuff, which kind of
Yep.
looks like the Halo stuff I like. That's all in there.
Yep.
You got the cool creatures. You got the army. Yeah, 09 shoot. Yeah, turns out you're right about that too. So,
Because I like them.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much potential. And who
Mhm.
knows? Maybe they introduce a third set of there's the humans, the aliens. Then there'd be a different set of aliens, or maybe other planets. Who knows what he's going to do with it? That's the potential. There's awesome.
Yeah.
And it looks great.
Yeah. Well, it's just going to be interesting because now, you know, how they ended the first one, you know, where he basically became an a Navi, you know. He's not an avatar. I mean, like, his human body was gone. And so it's going to be interesting. Is there going to be some prequel work done? You know, I think, like, Zoe, what is it? Zendaya, what is her name?
Zendaya from Spider-Man?
I think, is she in it? I think she might be in it, and I'm wondering if she's going to be, like, a younger, like, I wonder if they're going to do some back in time kind of stuff. I'm very interested to see how they're going to play this out. I'm so excited. I also hope they're going to add more to Disney World because going to when you walk in, you see the floating tree because it's all the floating and it's ginormous, and you walk, it's just the coolest thing. And they play the music, and you truly feel like, oh my God, I'm walking into Pandora.
And they're still doing. Is that a new attraction?
No,
Because
it's
this
been
is
around.
09,
Yeah.
so you're talking 12 years.
I don't know when it came.
Yeah.
It's not new, but
Okay.
it new for me. I've never
Sure.
been to Disney World, so this was my first time, and so that was, you know, going to Animal Kingdom. I was like, yeah, all right, you know, I'm excited, but yeah. So okay, Zoe Saldana. Okay,
Well, she was in the first one.
there
She plays the Navi. He falls in
she
love
does,
with.
but I thought there was a younger girl.
Oh, you know they're going to add more people.
Yeah.
It might be Zendaya or someone
Yeah.
of equal, you know, popularity or
Yeah.
something. I mean, Zendaya's hot. Euphoria's huge. Spider-Man's huge.
But these have been filmed several years ago.
Yeah, but she's been in the first two Spider-Man movies, and people loved her.
Yeah.
I can't remember if she was in something else too prior to this, but I think they're like, I would imagine if one's coming out in 2028, you're still talking 6 years from now. They got to be filming stuff. They couldn't have filmed everything now, and it takes 6 years to do post-production. So they're probably taking like a 6-year span, and they're filming everything in
6 years to do post-production?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
It wouldn't be that.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So they're probably still going to be filming stuff up until like 2026. So it'll probably be like a 6-year filming thing, and then every last 2 years they have another crew that finishes that one off while they're still filming the next one. They probably never stop. Probably build like a video village, and they just live there for 6 years and finish them all at one time. I don't know. I mean, again, children may know background stuff that I'm not
Then you're
aware
getting
of.
into a Dumbledore kind of thing. Where it
Dumbledore.
dies in, you know,
Oh, Dumbledore.
the original
Yeah.
Dumbledore, and then you got to recast it. But I guess if these are avatars, I guess it doesn't matter, right?
Again, depending on what they do with them.
Yeah.
Right?
True. Yeah. So that's what I'm really looking forward to it.
That's awesome.
You know, and again, go back to my one, you know, just being able to experience that with my kids. Love the movie. We got to experience that together at going to Pandora. And actually flying the Banshee was probably one of my favorite rides, and I think they would say the same thing.
So is it like the Millennium Falcon thing, where you're in like a cockpit, or is it like you sit on one of those dragons?
You sit on.
Right. It's not a real dragon.
It's the virtual. It's VR.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So it's VR combo with a harness thing you're sitting in, so you feel like you're flying in the air.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, and
That's awesome.
you know, and then the screen. Obviously, you're going, you're flying, you're dropping, your stomach. It's just it is so cool. It is so cool. So I hope they'll add more to that when these new movies come out with that. Yeah, so that's what I'm really excited about.
I'm sure they will. They even went action figure crazy when that initial one came out.
Oh, for sure.
They're going to be huge. Kids are going to be all over that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Toys, birds, the action figures, the dragons, the military stuff, whatever else they're adding, other aliens.
Maybe
whatever.
this will be their Star Wars that continues to go on and
Well,
on.
if they've already planned on that, you got 5 total movies. It's already, it's already the biggest grossing movie ever.
Yeah.
Worldwide, because again, they re-released it just to beat Endgame. So yeah, it's already huge.
Yeah. So
Very cool.
that's what I'm looking forward to.
It's good to see you.
You too.
It's been a long time, too long.
Stupid COVID
Yeah, in work and other things.
life.
Adulting too much.
Adulting, yes. The nostalgia back in the day when we could just hang out.
Yeah.
And watch. We did the Lord of the Rings trilogy, didn't we?
Well, that was one day you came over because I watched all the extended
Eric,
editions.
yeah.
all from the beginning to the
Yeah.
end. What was it, 12 and a half hours?
Yeah, we
I
ordered
sat
pizza.
one movie.
Yeah,
We ordered 3 whole meals during
yeah.
the process. I ate breakfast at 11, and then I watched till 9 in the morning, and then I watched till like 11:30 at night. So I think I ate 3 full meals. I watched all of them at once, the
Yeah.
extended ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now they're on Blu-ray, or now they're 4K. I just had the Blu-rays back in
Ooh,
the day, but now I gotta
yeah.
get the 4K and do it all over.
Lame. No, but that Amazon, the Prime thing is gonna be cool. I just saw the clip yesterday. So
trailer.
So I don't know much about it, so I'm gonna have to go look into it. But I was watching it. It drew my. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Once you saw some of the characters, I'm like, is this really what I think it's gonna be? And as soon as it said something about
Lord of the
Lord of something, I was like, yes,
More fun stuff to look forward to.
yes.
Well, thank you.
Thank you
again
for having
coming
me.
over. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching. Remember, again, like, subscribe. Go to iTunes. The audio version of this is on there. If you're listening to this on iTunes, you can watch us live on YouTube every Wednesday night, usually every Wednesday night. We'll do it live on YouTube, and then there'll be a video to watch. Just like, hit the bell, subscribe, do all the fun stuff, right?
That sounds good.
Awesome. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Later.
Was that 3 hours?